Would you say you could play the radio?
That's Mr. Frank.
You remember radio?
All right. Would you say you could play the radio? We are
That's
live.
Mr. Frank.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the kitchen. Hello, Frank and Hasmick and Ray and Mike. How's everyone? Woohoo! So, Ray, tell us about your new digs over there.
Well, it's hollow. There's nothing on the walls. It's there's no theater lighting, TV lighting. Probably got a lot of echo, and the camera keeps screwing up on me. But other than that, I'm doing fine. Moved in 2 weeks ago and still unboxing. A lot of critical stuff I can't find.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I did learn something when you do a gig that's close to home, you take a lot of stuff and you're a little careless. When you're doing something that's thousands of miles away, you plan it, everything else. Well, we moved 40 miles away and did a crappy job of it.
Ay, ay, ay. I'm sorry. Oh, well.
But I missed it. I didn't miss the kitchen. I just missed being on it, watched it like everybody else does. And YouTube continues to be a great resource, and I'm happy to be back.
Good to have you back. Good to have you back. I just noticed something, by the way. The spotlight was stuck on me. I had co-hosted my OSC machine and Ray before, and it lost. Both of them dropped for some, like the co-host. They both lost co-host. Now, Ray, I think you actually dropped out and came back in.
I did.
But
yeah.
my OSC machine didn't. I swear to goodness, it was, what do you call it? It was co-host. And I just looked and it wasn't, which is very interesting. I don't know.
The TDG Productions?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's co-host right now.
Yeah, it's because I just made a co-host again.
Oh, okay.
But it was before and then it dropped, which is very strange. Hey, John.
Hello.
Hello.
It's the man from long away.
Long away, indeed.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a long away.
In the UK, long away in the UK.
That's
Okay.
it. Yeah, a part you didn't realize.
I know.
Mr. Frank, how are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Is that a light? You got a light behind you, but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
nothing-
Yeah, it's just there.
It's just there. Okay. Good to see you. Hasmuk, how are you, sir? Good. Thumbs up. I love seeing thumbs up from you, my friend. Mr. Latta, how are you doing?
Doing good, Mr. Paskin.
Not happy at all, are you, with Zoom Docs?
Not from what John and I have seen.
All
Yes,
right.
we did do a little demo, John and I. And
Oh,
with
yeah?
each other. And well, we feel, and I'll let John speak for himself, but I'll speak for myself. What I've seen so far, it brought me back into the days of, I think, John, we came up with, was it Word Perfect days of DOS
Really?
days? And
Really?
Mr. Frank would love that comment. I figured he would understand that one for sure. All us guys in the DOS days using the infamous Word Perfect.
All right. Well, we'll take a look at that today. I do have a question before we do that, though. Does anyone know, does Zoom have education pricing, not for a school, but for individual educators? Like if you sign up with an EDU address or something, or maybe not even. Does anyone know?
Not seen anything like that.
I
anywhere.
don't think so, but if you apply as an education license, you get all kinds of new restrictions, and it's complicated.
But right, an education license meaning a business education license.
Yeah,
not
but
an individual.
you have to attest that you have participants who are under the legal age of adulthood, and then that comes with a bunch of new responsibilities and limitations.
Right. Single, yeah. Zoom discount. Okay. That's what I thought. All right. So with no fanfare whatsoever. Wait, who just came in? Who am I saying hello to?
Say
Jason.
hello to Jason.
Hey,
Yes.
Jason. So with no fanfare whatsoever, this is a what was this, .03 or something? Let me see, about Zoom Workplace. Sorry, .6, 6.1.6. They dropped Zoom Docs. Like nothing, like it was a regular old update. Wasn't even a full .digit. When you first open it, you get a little pop-up that says new, collaborate using Zoom Docs. And then I will bring you all in to what it looks like over here. Bada bing, bada boom. So here I am in my Zoom client. By the way, sorry, before we get into Docs, I have spent this week searching for two things. A new calendar. No, you cannot control my camera, Hasmuk. What are you doing? All right, I'm gonna let you control it. I don't know what he's gonna do now. In any case, I've been looking for a new calendar app. I have my calendars, but I'm looking for a new interface, right? A new calendar app and a new mail app. I have multiple email accounts, multiple calendars. And I have just tried almost everything. I tried Superhuman the other day. I've tried all of these different clients. I can't find an email client I'm happy with. But I think that the that the calendar client that I'm going to be happiest with is actually Zoom Calendar. I have all my calendars right in here. I like the layout. I like, there's some things I don't like. Like in Google Calendar, you can actually draw oh, you can't hear too. Sorry, I didn't think you could. I don't know. I'm still going to play with it, but I think maybe this is going to be my new calendar interface. In any case, so up at the top here, we've got your own home calendar, and then you've got docs right there. And you get this gorgeous pop-up that says, incorporate meetings and teamwork with AI first Zoom docs. Not that anyone's asking me, but I'm so sick of everyone being AI first. I love ChatGPT as much as the next guy, but everyone just needs to chill out with the AI. I just give me a clean UI interface that works well. That's what I want. I don't want. All right, I'm done. Get started. All right, so now what's it going to do? Let's see. Okay, so now it gives us, this is like a test doc. So it says, click below and start typing anything. Okay, I'm in the Zoom test kitchen. I've gotten this a few times now. This local caching is turned on. If your internet is temporarily disconnected, local caching can help you use the dock in most situations. Not recommended for use on public or shared computers. Okay, got it. Thank you for that. All right, next, type this magical key. So I'm gonna type this magical key, the / key, and then we get all of these pull-ups, these options. And I kind of like the easy access. I'm going to let you guys poop all over this, but I'll just do like the quick walkthrough real quick, right? So you've got your, different headings, different fonts, different, if you want to do lists, text, bulleted, all that stuff, link, subpage, web card, table contents, you got all this stuff. All right, so that's the / key. Explore more with /. Click the downward facing triangle on the left of this paragraph to collapse or reveal the goodies below. Oh, to the left, sorry. Oh, that's it, okay. I'm not, that wasn't very exciting, but discover more with the magical /, okay. But here, now here's what you can do. You can insert stuff. So / I did it in the wrong place. /media. Now I can import an image. Do I have an image? I have an image here. There you go. That's kind of nice. I'm just going to say /media. I kind of like that. What does /me do? Oh, just ME, sorry. You could do audio, video, file, mention a person, a date, a page, a meeting summary. Wonder what happens there. Ah, look at that. It brings up all your meetings. Look at that. Meeting notes, next steps. Okay. Embed something. Let's try and embed. Embed. You can embed YouTube, X, Figma, Google Drive. I don't have a link right now. All right. You'll have to take my word for it. Oh, I actually have this meeting. Look at that. I just embedded this very meeting into the doc. Okay. Drag and drop for flexible. See, I played with this also. I like this also, kind of. I can just drag this and put it wherever I want it. Kind of like that. I don't have to highlight things. I can just grab them. What does the AA do? The AA opens up the the same thing as the slash. No, wait, is that what this, did the slash open that? Yeah, same thing as that. Okay. Call the everywhere floating toolbar. Highlight any text to instantly bring up for quick styling. Oh, that's so stylish. Drag and drop, leave your comments. Click on the comment icon in the floating toolbar or next to your line to add a comment. Okay. Comment next, oh, there it is. Comment. Or, oh, and it just highlights it for you. So if I want to do it this way and comment at, I can at today or someone else. There you go. Remind a person or set a date, type at followed by a person's name, at David's Fun Team. That's kind of nice. Explore the sidebar on the left. Create a page. Find the icon on the left of the Save to Cloud to add a page. Where is that? Oh, here we go. Add a page is way up there. Add a page. Okay. So, oh, yeah, and look at this. You could do the database thing. So if I want to do data table, look at that. Bada bing, bada boom. Mike, what is not to love about this? Come on. What am I missing?
Well,
I think this is good stuff, isn't it?
Well, let's hear what Frank has to say.
Oh, Frank, I'm sorry. I didn't see your hand up. Go for it.
That's okay. So I have a question. I haven't had a chance to use this. I've been on vacation. Plus, I would have to turn this on in my dev account, and I haven't done it yet. But what's the deal with importing and exporting Google Docs? Because that's going to be a huge concern for lots of people. Can you export these docs to other formats, to other places besides Zoom Cloud, and import other kinds of docs into Zoom Docs? Can you do that as well?
So I don't know. Let's see. So let's see. We've got. Oops. Sorry about that. Full. All right. So we've got. What have we got here? I will say it's a little tricky to know where things are. Like it's not obvious to me where I should be looking for things, but that's the outline. I don't particularly like the pageless format. That's just me. I'm a page kind of guy, but I assume it would be somewhere up here. So there's share. Okay. Just like in Google Docs. But that doesn't help us get anything in. There's, what is this? There's a meeting. There's comments. There's open in browser. Now, if I go over here, I've got copy link, add to start, copy to my docs. Page width, default, medium, full. Okay. Page options. Oh, you have so I am looking for the answer, but we're finding all these other things. Cover. I don't like covers. Okay. Well, this is not what I was looking for. Where is auto suggest, instant translation shortcut, version history, save version, resolve comments, more. Is anyone seeing an export that I'm missing here? Let me go back to here. So this is
Even file save as, if it's not explicitly export, but file save as. Like,
so this
what
is
if I want a copy of this on my local computer as a PDF or something? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, if anyone else has some insights here, feel free to jump in. I don't see any way to export.
Is there any way to import besides copy paste?
Yes. So on the docs page, there's an import button. Let's see what you can do. You can import local files, doc. Oh, you can import spreadsheets. That's interesting. Or CSV.
I'm not seeing what you're doing.
Why not? What am I doing?
No, I'm not. Whatever you're looking at, I'm not seeing it. That's all. I don't think you're sharing whatever you're looking at right now.
John is, John, are you screen sharing? I am so confused. John, are you screen sharing? Is it me or is John screen sharing?
I wasn't
Yeah.
intentionally.
Oh, you were. That's so weird. Yeah, you were screen sharing. I'm sorry.
Is that because I was trying to share a doc? Is that what happened?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yep. And we
that's
got
it.
another tab up, so you could toggle back and forth between what David was sharing and what John was sharing.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. So I'm not actually sharing anything. I'm doing this through eCam. So that's why I was confused by that. Sorry. So in order to import, I'm back on the main docs page, I guess, right? And there's the import button. You can import doc files, XLS files, CSV text files, or MD files. I don't know what MD is. I'm curious what it does with a CSV file.
Yeah, David, MD
Yeah.
files are markdown based files.
Oh, Markdown. Thank you. Okay. I'd like to find out what a CSV is. Let me what it does with the CSV. Let me really quickly open up I'll create a CSV here. People, what?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just put in a couple of stuff
Yeah.
so that it's in different
Time, day,
cells.
David, Mike, Max, Harvey, Jim Bob. And then we'll just do 9, 10, 11. I was actually the reason I'm interested in this is because I spend a tremendous amount of time using spreadsheets, and they don't have, it's not obvious, at least in Zoom docs, that that's a functionality. But it says that you can import, like you can't create a spreadsheet, but it says you can import. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now someone else just went to share. John is sharing.
John, you're sharing again.
Yeah,
Which is
as
fine.
soon as I start doing a doc, it shares it, which is
Yeah.
weird, isn't it?
Oh, because that's interesting. Wait, you're starting it from within how are you starting it?
If I hit the docs, button and I do
in
new,
your-
it
in your
immediately
app.
shares that doc.
In your app?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Oh, I'm doing it on a different computer. That's interesting. And I wouldn't want that. I don't want it to auto open in a meeting. That's interesting. All right, let me test. Let me go ahead and download this as a CSV. And then we'll
John, are
upload.
you a co-host or just a regular old attendee?
No, I am nothing special. I'm just a turn up.
All right, so here's
But if
our
you
test
look at
sheet.
your Google Docs menu at the bottom on your screen, you click on Docs. It says Share Zoom Docs. So immediately you start going into a doc, you're sharing it.
Hey, John, if I stop your share, does it close it
stop
for
the shares.
you?
Don't worry. Yeah, stop the shares. I can't.
No,
I
but-
can't find a way to stop them. So you stop them. That's fine.
But does it close your doc for you? can you
well,
still
as far
work
as
in the
I'm
doc?
concerned, I haven't got a doc open at the moment. But
Well, how did you?
that's why it's so confusing.
All right. Well, let me just finish this. So I'll just explain that. So I just uploaded the CSV, and it essentially creates a table in a doc. So it's not at all a full-fledged spreadsheet yet. But all right, let's pause on looking through here for a second and trying to figure out how this interacts with meetings. So I'm going to come into the same meeting, the same computer, the same client, and I'm going to open a doc here and let's see what happens. So let me just show everyone what I'm doing. So here I am, I'm just in my Zoom client. I'm going to go to Docs, get started, make it a little bigger. Now let me go back and so is this what you did, John? You clicked new document? We can't hear
I
you.
use the Docs button at the bottom of my.
The
screen.
bottom of the meeting.
Yep.
There's a Docs button at the bottom of Oh, I didn't see that. That's why.
Yeah, and it launches it straight in. It then launches that doc straight into the
Right.
meeting.
But if you open it from your app, meaning not within the meeting, it didn't. I just did that and it did not do a screen share.
Yeah.
But it only does that if you do it from within. Now shared, let me see, let me show you this. So I just clicked on the docs and I had two options. This is within the meeting. One option was, wait, I can't see it if I have that open. So one option was advanced, I guess one option is just share doc and the other is advanced sharing options. And it says allow participants to share docs. So when enabled, all signed-in participants, internal and external, can share docs during this meeting. I have that turned on. Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing? Who can create a doc in this meeting? These are all default settings. I didn't turn anything on. Host only users in your organization, all participants. Boy, I can see this being really disruptive if people don't, as it was, not that I'm blaming you, John, but right, if people don't realize that every time they click on that new doc, if they think they're just making a note or something. And
I just clicked on the docs and the little pop-up window does at the top of it say share Zoom docs, but it isn't obvious that this will take over the meeting. And you're
yeah, I see
our
what you're
new
saying.
or import. I'm going to cancel out of that, of course, and not take over the meeting.
Yeah, so thank you for
You
pointing
would
that
think
out.
that you were sharing a document with everybody. It would appear in a sidebar. You wouldn't think it would suddenly screen share and take the whole screen over.
Right. Let me just show everyone what Lois was just talking about, and thank you, Lois, for pointing that out. So when you click on advanced sharing options, you get this window. When you click on actually new doc, you get this first, and it says share Zoom docs. You can then either do a new one or you can search for something we've already done. So presumably, if I were to click, well, this is John's actually. So I now see the two that you shared, John, are now in my list of share Zoom docs. So if I click this, presumably, when I click it, nothing actually happens. I have to then click share. Is this what you went through? I'm going to try that again.
Yeah.
Click on share a new doc or whatever the button said. If I click on new, share new doc. That's what it is. Okay. That's when the screen share takes over. Okay.
David, also when you did when you pulled up John's, it did actually go into share mode as well.
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. Jason, go ahead, please.
Yeah, help me process this. I think I'm missing a couple of steps. So John shared unknowingly, and then it came in as a share screen and took over. It popped up on on my second screen where the shared content did. And then David, as the host, you were able to go in and display and or change sharing options so that John couldn't exploit it. Like if John wanted to display something inappropriate and totally bomb your meeting, like that's another place that we need to check as hosts so that we're not rebroadcasting something unintentional.
Sorry, and by default, it was turned on for everyone to be able to share. You're
How
absolutely
exciting.
right. You're absolutely right about that. You can shut it down, but it's, yeah. Frank, go ahead, please.
Two things. In the host controls, are there abilities in the host controls to limit people from doing Zoom Docs things?
So let's see.
I'm seeing it as co-host, David, in the tools, host tools.
You do see it there?
Yeah. allow
I
all
didn't see it yet.
participants to share docs is there as a
Allow-
checkbox.
That makes sense. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
how
there
they
it
do
is. Yeah,
everything
yeah, yeah.
else, right?
Yep. So you've got share screen, chat, rename, unmute, start video, share Zoom docs. Yep.
But the other thing I would say is on the Zoom web portal, admin, account settings, account management, Zoom docs. Have you gone in there and explicitly made decisions about how Zoom docs works?
I didn't even look at it.
Yeah, so you may be getting unintended behavior because you haven't defined what's suitable for your
Well,
account.
Yeah, well, yes, but to have everything turned on by default. I mean, not you know, we go in and check these things, but 99.9% of people who use Zoom don't even know that there's settings on a web.
Sure. Oh, I don't disagree, but you know, as a responsible administrator, I would first go into the account settings, define the options I'd want for my organization.
Right. Again,
get-
you're with an organization. I think most folks.
Something else to put on the checklist in our event setup.
And again, when this new thing comes out from Zoom, it would be useful if they would warn you that you now have more things to change or look at or consider or decide about. I think they just turned it on and didn't say anything to anyone.
Well, I think they do. Like one of the things, if you're a Zoom administrator, I think Zoom expects you to read the release notes and do your own due diligence. And if you're not doing that, then that's partially on you because they do usually document all of this stuff for you when new features come out. Sometimes they're late by a week or two, but normally there's preview notes and then there's release notes. And usually between the two of those, you can get up to speed. But I have criticized Zoom in support tickets before for turning features on for accounts and having them in the on position instead of the off position by default. I often think that that might be a marketing decision. We want people to see our new stuff, and the marketing, I don't know this for a fact, it's just supposition, but maybe the marketing team wants these new things seen and they overrule other voices in the company that would say, you know, you're going to anger some people by doing this.
Absolutely.
When we went through
here-
that list of new stuff, did you see this is turned on and you have to deal with it?
No. So we started today by saying that there was zero fanfare. In fact, in the release notes, I don't even think it listed Google Docs, if I remember correctly.
Zoom Docs.
Zoom Docs, excuse me. I'll pull that up in 1 second, but I just wanted to. So these are the settings on the back end. So you've got up at the top here, general meeting, webinar, record calendar, and then Docs is over there. So first of all, the very first thing, allow participants to share docs in meetings. If it's turned off, the host can still do so, but not everyone else can. Who can share docs when someone else is sharing? Who can create and share a new doc in a meeting? And then docs access. So link access. So by default, interesting. So I bet you this is a, I'll have to go into my main account to change it to anyone with link. The only way you can comment or edit is by signing in. That's a security. And then there are email notifications down here, but there's some more settings over here. Oh no, I'm sorry. This just takes you down the page.
But these are the global settings. Then you would go to your own personal settings.
No. These are actually not the global. These are the personal. I have.
Oh, you're in the personal. I thought you were in the global.
No, I have to go. I'm going to go into the global.
Yeah,
now.
normally you define the global settings first, and then you personally refine your own settings, right?
Right. I just happen to be in this account. So
okay, cool.
I'm gonna let me take you into the global settings now.
And we'll have a question when you get done with that.
Sure. So, all right, here we go. Docs. All right, so we do have some more things. So first of all, we have in-meeting docs. Enable Zoom docs. Allow participants to share docs in meetings. Who can share docs when someone else is sharing? Who can share and create a new doc? Yeah, that we've had before.
So hold on. Back.
Please.
The thing that John did, who can share when someone else is sharing?
Correct.
is probably why John was able,
He,
like if you said host only, then only a host could share. You wouldn't be able to have multiple people sharing.
a
Well, no,
doc,
it is
sharing a
said,
doc, not
it
just
is-
sharing.
Yeah, sharing docs, that's what we're talking
right.
about.
It
No,
is.
but he was sharing his screen and the doc overrode it.
No.
Yeah.
He was sharing a doc.
No, wait a
No.
second.
That's right. I
Hold-
was sharing a doc. You were sharing a
John,
screen. So
he was
you
sharing a
wouldn't-
screen and John overrode it with his doc.
No. Stop. Hold on. I wasn't sharing anything.
Yes, you had a screen share up.
No, I didn't. Please let me explain.
He was faking it again.
It
I was
looked like
faking it. I'm bringing it in via this. This is not a screen share. This is just a camera into Zoom. That's all this is. Now by default, it is set, as you can see, to host only when someone else is sharing. So he was able to start that share because I wasn't sharing anything. That's why he was able to do that.
David, what
Okay.
would happen if you allow the setting above that, allow participants to share docs in meeting? If you kill that and then recreate your webcam feed and then John share the doc, it should be locked down and not happen, if I understand this correctly.
Will that not need to be a new meeting? Is
Yeah, it'll
that-
probably.
No,
yeah,
it happens straight away.
Oh,
yeah.
I've
'Cause
got
it would need to be
I've got a
new
line
meeting.
across it now, not allowing me.
not
Wait.
allowing you,
No,
Yep.
we're seeing it.
but I'm seeing it on the screen.
Yeah.
It says hello from Zoom Docs, and there's your icon, John's screen.
Well,
There's a
I've got an
tab.
arrow with a line through it. I've got a circle with a line through it, saying I can't share.
Guess what? You're sharing.
Well,
Hope
that's
it's
the
not
first bug,
social
then.
security numbers and payroll information.
Wow.
that's all right.
interesting.
I only shares Frank's security number. That's the only one I share.
Oh, yeah, we all have that already anyway. That's good.
So let me
Yeah. Was John able to stop sharing or did you have to kill it as the host?
I don't know if John could stop sharing. I killed it though. Can you, John? Can you stop sharing?
Well, he's not sharing now.
No, I'm saying, but if you were, do you have the?
I haven't seen the obvious way of doing that.
Do me a favor. Go ahead and do the doc again, and then in the tabbed view next to next to the the tab for the doc, there are three dots. At least for me, there are.
Yeah.
Can you go ahead and share the doc again? So we're not seeing anything.
Okay. If I do it from the workplace, I have to do it from the bottom, I think, to get it to be shared.
Yeah, absolutely. Do
Yeah.
it from
There we are. I'm
within the
sharing
meeting.
now, aren't I?
Yep. Okay, now up at the top, on the tab where it says John Drinkwater's doc, you should see three buttons. Three dots rather. But you know what else? On the right, on the right-hand side, there's an X. Do you see an X in the top? Well, now you don't because I just killed it. Sorry, I wasn't sure if that X would work. Can you start it again and then look in the top right-hand corner because I get an X. And what I'll do is I'll show.
And
I'll show
everybody
you
sees
this.
that X on YouTube as well, David.
Oh, they could?
Yep. Right
good.
now. Yep.
Oh, good. Yeah. So up in the top left.
I can see a stop. Yeah, I had a stop there just appeared just then, and I've got a
Okay,
red
great.
red box to kill it as well.
Great.
Top right.
Good. Okay.
All right, and I've got the spotlight on me, and I can stop that. So, and I've got follow my view. So if I'm sharing a doc, I seem to have some sort of extra superpowers, don't I?
Yes, but I also have that.
And you're
Yeah,
still,
but I'm a nobody.
but you're still sharing.
So follow my view suggests that if I'm going to start scrolling around on this document, I'm going to take you with me.
That's a share feature. Follow my
Yeah.
view is for gallery.
Well, this is
That's
in
a
a docs
different setting.
context, isn't it?
No, so John just scrolled and we are now following
my
his
view.
view. Yep. That's exactly right. And if I say follow my view, now you all are following me.
But that's for the gallery. He's still scrolling and I still see a scroll.
No, that's what we're talking about. What we're saying
You
is
said follow your view.
correct. That's me
Yeah, we've
scrolling,
taken it in
not him.
turns. We've taken control of each other.
Right. That's me scrolling. So right now I'm scrolling. He's not.
And
I
those
can-
of us in the peanut gallery, when you're alternating taking control, we get a little pop-up at the bottom of the screen that lets us know whether we're following John's scroll or whether we're following Zoom Test Kitchen scroll.
Whose screen you're following, right?
Correct.
And
Oh,
on top of that too, the icon where all our icons are at the top right changes.
Yep. I
to
will
the
say, by the
priority
way,
of who's
I-
following.
I will say I changed my name in this meeting is David Paskin, but in the Zoom doc, my name is Zoom Test Kitchen still, which is interesting. And yes, Lois,
It's
now
your
we're following
login ID, not your in-meeting name.
Yeah, I guess so. It would just, that would be helpful though, to, just saying. And Lois, now we were just following your scroll.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm trying to edit, but I can't. So it said ask for permission. So I just did. I don't know who I'm asking, but I'm trying to change that S to a D. It's not going to work.
So you're asking John, because it's his doc.
Let's see. As an experiences public speaker, I want experienced. But did you get a message asking for permission for me to edit?
I can't see one.
So John, I saw your comments in the chat and the link to the documentation, which
Yeah.
is helpful. Give me the 30,000 foot view use case for this. This would be useful when?
They've obviously decided that notes isn't good enough and they want to take it to the next level. This is not a replacement, in my view, to the word processor. But
Why do you say that though? Like,
because there's no way they're
what's
going to
the-
add the functionality to do that. This is running in a browser, by the way. You do realize that, don't you? It's a browser.
I was about to say it's got HTML codes in there.
Yeah,
You're
it's a
basically doing
it's a
an
browser-based app.
interesting. Yeah.
But if you think of the idea they have at the corporate level, that they are going to be the sort of YouTube of corporates, you've got all your meetings all in your hub or stored on your cloud with Zoom. AI's been in there and analyzed all the words. David, I think you talked about the widget last July. David will be able to go to the AI and get that text of that widget about that widget from that meeting without having to play the meeting, without having to record the meeting. You could get infinite notes from anywhere. Then
Now
you could
the light
take
bulb
some of that
turned on.
content and share it with a document. You could discuss the document. This is not an app
Wait a
in
second.
itself. To
Hold
my
on.
now, by the way, Zoom haven't told me any of this.
Wait,
I'm
John,
just-
back
No,
up.
it's the Zoom Test Kitchen. That's what I love about it.
Wait, John, back up a little bit. So
Sure.
hold on. That last piece that you just said with the light bulb. Walk me through that
Okay.
again, please.
Zoom are expecting all your meetings, all your video meetings will stay in the Zoom cloud. With the AI, you can reference that information forever. So if you have some piece of information I want you to get from last July, where would you go? Where would you go without Zoom? You would go back to your notes. Would your,
Your
notes be
content
correct?
repository. Yeah.
Yeah. If the whole of your video content and all your meetings can be transcribed and then read like a database, this is a bit like AI again, isn't it? This is AI, but this is not AI making an intelligent write me a book type application. This is AI becoming an intelligent search engine through the videos and all the content in Zoom to go and collect information.
But what's the connection to docs?
You need
Text.
somewhere to communicate that content. You need a device that's going to work within meetings so we can share documents, we can discuss things. This is an interface to media. This is like a little hook. This is maybe the notes should have been this, but obviously notes got sidetracked and now they can't.
So John, let me make an attempt at summarizing here to see if I understand this correctly.
Sure.
If as an enterprise, an organization, what have you, and you're using Zoom as your content repository. So David, John, and I, we meet on a regular basis. We have a meeting called Zoom Test Kitchen. We talk about things related to Zoom. And 3 months from now, one of us says, you know, I thought we talked about that thing before, the whatchamacallit. And I should be able to query through AI, presumably in the meeting that we are currently in. Otherwise, maybe I have to go in through the back door. And I should be able to query AI and say, on all Zoom Test Kitchen meetings, tell me what was the thing that David recapped and the action item that we were going to do. Is that basically it?
Exactly. At the moment, they're just trying to do it for one meeting.
We
but
don't
just
have
think
that now.
what happens when it goes to all meetings.
Right. And all your video and all your docs and all your text chats in here and possibly
before
translation.
And before David comes in, I'll throw you another curveball. This could be interrogated in any language.
Yeah, right, with the translation. Okay, that's exciting and scary at the same time.
So if you look at your screen, you'll see that at the bottom of that document, there's a description from Zoom that says, how can I use Docs? And it gives some examples of things that you might use it for. So this is their suggestions of what we might use it for.
Man, my mind goes to the dark arts right away. Sorry, folks. But man, you think about privacy and litigation, and I'm assuming this feature is not in the government.
Big corporates. Yeah, don't think of the small guys. I know. I can't remember who we discussed it with now, but the level, I think Zoom call it level 0. In other words, the small people are like 70% of Zoom's business. But don't think about them. Think about enormous corporates with thousands of employees who have great ideas, have great meetings that get buried and no one ever hears about. This could completely revolutionize the way they deal with their information.
As long as it's locked up.
Well, it's up to a corporate to decide how they're going to deal with their own corporate internal data, isn't it?
John, can I just jump in here?
Please.
I think that what you're suggesting is interesting. I maybe that's where they're going with their AI. I'm still not seeing the necessity for docs with that. I mean, I don't think that's what docs is about. I have no idea what it is about, but I don't think. I mean, I will say that one piece that we did before, where we could slash. Let me see. Do I have editing privileges on this doc? I don't even know. And if I do, how do I access it? I'm on the screen share. I don't know how to.
You have to request permission, and he won't give it to you. He says he can't find a place to say.
I can't see where it's notifying me to
Where
ask.
do I where did you see the request permission?
I tried to edit something. I tried to change an S to a D, and it said, "Oh, you can't edit. You have to request permission." And there was a button that says "Request permission." So I clicked that.
Oh, look at that! Yeah,
and he doesn't get it, or he doesn't know where.
It's interesting. There's no way to. There's no obvious button to say, "Hey, I'd like to work on this with you."
Okay,
but
I
you're
found
right.
it.
If you highlight something, what you get on top of that highlight is you get a comment button or a copy button. But if you just start typing, as Lois said,
Lois, you are approved.
Thank you very much. I'll go.
Okay, I found out where it is. Can I just very, very temporarily just share my screen just to show you what it is?
Let me get that D done. Okay, I've done my edit.
I still don't have. I can't request. Huh?
Why can't you request?
I don't know. Go ahead, John.
When you start to type, you get the request button, David?
I did the first time, Lois, but I didn't after that. Sorry, John, start again, please.
This is my central world of the world. This control of the world, it seems. Under my Docs tab, under my Zoom Workplace main app. And that's where I got the notification from Lois. You see?
Wait, where is that?
That
What?
is very tiny. Can you not share quite so much of your screen or make the window bigger or
Yeah,
something?
I'll try and do a better screen share for you. Hold on.
That looked like you were in a spreadsheet or something.
David, what I also noticed too is that when the doc was open, that it'll actually allow you to pop, it says open in browser.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's because it's a browse. That's because it's a browser app.
Right. Just like John was mentioning that.
Yeah.
But again, you also have to be logged in to be able to edit it too. Because it did
Right.
prompt me because I wasn't in this browser. I wasn't actually logged in. And it
So
actually
you can
prompted me.
view, Mike, so you can view without being logged in, but you can't comment
No.
or edit.
No, neither.
Well, that's a
I-
setting, I think.
That
So,
could be a setting that maybe was explicit on John or explicit on the meeting.
Yeah.
so let me, John, before you
David-
screen share again.
No, I
hold on a
can't.
second.
I can't screen share because it's trying to screen share a Zoom app, so I
Oh,
can't
okay.
do it. I can't do it
So-
specifically. But if you go to the the main front screen, which is outside the meeting, the Zoom.
Into the marketplace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that-
the Zoom,
yeah.
just the normal Zoom app with the home screen and everything on it. If you go to there,
Yeah. What do we-
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you go
workplace,
to
into
more and
workplace.
click on the docs.
Hold on a second. Okay. So here I am. And you want me to click on docs?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, so on the top left, you've got notifications. Can you see that? And you've got a red dot there.
Yep. Right
That's
up
where
here.
the notifications for people taking over your document have been appearing.
It doesn't pop up in the meeting?
I didn't see it pop up in the meeting. That's the only
That's
place that I've
interesting.
managed to find it.
Let me can we just let's put a pause for just a moment and let me finish walking through the settings just for
Sure.
to see what the settings are, if that's okay with everyone.
Yep.
So okay, so we have up here, we have enable Zoom docs. This is all for in meeting. Who can share, this is where we left off, who can share docs, who can create and share a new doc in a meeting. Again, these are all, I didn't change any of these. Then the next thing is out of meeting docs. So do I want to enable Zoom docs out of meeting? If turned off, users can't view or use Zoom docs out of meeting. Then docs access. Who can access your account's docs? Only
David?
users, yes.
You said, if turned off, users can't view or use Zoom docs out of meeting. Your organization's users, the people you
Correct.
can control, not me.
Correct.
I can do
Correct. Correct. Yes. Right now I'm working on the settings on account level settings or org level settings, I should say. Sorry. Organization level settings. The default access collaborate, who can have access via link. So interestingly, I can't, even on the org level, I can't turn this on. I can't turn anyone with link, which for me is a deal breaker because I want to be able to share with people outside of my org.
But if you do the middle option, then I think you have roles. Yeah, commenter, editor, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that doesn't help me because I want to share with people outside.
You might have another setting that
Right.
that it's relying on somewhere else before
I-
that you'll be able to turn it on.
Agreed. I would love to know what that is, but yeah, or where that is. So then other settings allow users to import files and upload attachments to docs. Allow users to download attachments from the docs interface. I didn't see that option anywhere, but okay, that seems like that should be there.
Can you hover on some of those question marks? They'll give you more information.
Yeah, sure. So let's do this one first. If turned off, this is for allow users to import and upload attachments. If turned off, users cannot import files to your account or upload attachments to docs owned by your account. And then the one over downloading attachments says essentially the same thing. You can't download attachment. You cannot download the attachment uploaded to docs from the docs user interface. So that's not
So
about,
I think that's
downloading
if it's
app.
embedded.
hey,
If it's hey,
I
hi
know
guys.
that voice. Hey, Ray.
I
Yeah.
think that's if it's embedded into your doc, people can't download it.
Correct. Right.
If someone
we still have
uploaded
not,
it.
we have not found a way to to download a Zoom doc yet.
This
Then
isn't the
there's-
doc, this is the attachment.
Correct. That's what I'm saying is that when you first read, if you don't hover over the question mark, and thank you, Frank, for making me do that. If you don't hover over the question mark, to me, I'm being the noob that I am, I would have said, oh, here's where you can download docs, but that's not what it is. It's specifically attachments that you uploaded, put in a Zoom doc that you want to then download again, or you want someone else you want to be able to download. And then instant translate.
David,
Wait a second. Users can hold the shift key and slightly move the cursor over a paragraph to see the translation in real time. That's kind of cool. We'll have to try that. Yeah, Frank. Hold on, Frank. Sorry, give me 1 second. Did you want to jump in, Lois?
I just want to remind you that you made a change, didn't save it, and you're one screen below it now.
What did I change? I don't think
I
changed
don't
anything.
know, it says save.
Oh, this thing right here?
I
Yeah,
think
it
you
doesn't.
wanted collaborators, but
Yeah, it doesn't. No, it doesn't matter.
Click cancel.
It doesn't even matter. This is the one I really want is anyone with the link. And I'd love to be able to find out, why that's not available to. Oh, coming soon. That's why it's not available to me. Because it's coming soon. Okay, that answers that question. Sorry, Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, if you scroll down,
Oh, sorry about
you're
that.
you're in the global settings, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for example, grammar and translate. Globally, I might want these on globally,
Mhm.
but if you go to your personal settings,
Yeah.
can you turn them off even though they're on globally? Because I know a lot of instructors who would be very upset if grammar and spelling was turned on, or if translate was turned on in a language course. They would not want these things globally on. They'd want to be able to define them in their own meeting. So, you know what I mean? Like it's available globally for all users, but then as a specific user, I want to define whether or not I want these things on in my meetings.
So now you're looking at my user settings, not
yep,
my
yep,
global
your
settings,
personal,
and
yep.
I don't see any.
See,
option to
that's
turn
not
that off.
nuanced enough. There needs to be more granularity than that.
Interesting.
there are tabs at the top, David. Do they all apply to your account?
These up here?
If you go to the far right where it says docs, that's left.
To the right.
Far right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Is that what you're in?
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. These are settings for each of the different services that Zoom provides.
Yeah,
So
this is a
if I
big
were to click
oversight.
on this- Yeah.
It's weird too because normally Zoom's very good about having parity between the global settings, and then as an individual user, I can also define whether or not I want to control those things as on my personal account if I want to take advantage of them or not. And it doesn't seem like they're doing that here.
Maybe it's
Also-
different in EDU flavors of Zoom.
Maybe.
Also, their buttons don't work. Their navigation buttons aren't taking me anywhere.
Well,
though,
if you scroll all the way down, if you take that notifications bar and push it way up at the very top of your screen, by scrolling down,
I
you
can't
probably
go
can't
any
even
farther.
get there. Right. It's one of those things that only lights up when that notification bar is at the very top. I spent 3 minutes trying to make that work yesterday too.
Yeah.
to address Jason's point though, I feel like this is kind of like a beta and we're all beta testers. Like there's still things coming soon, and I don't know, like did they release it? Now they're waiting for feedback and we'll have to wait a few evolutions before they refine it some more. Like out of the gate for me, I think I probably couldn't recommend using this yet. And I still don't understand completely, and that's fine because this is the first real experience I've had with this. How does a host of a meeting in a live meeting, you know how with everything else I can grant access to screen sharing, I can say yes, no. What if I've got 300 people in a meeting and I want to define who can
who can share a
participate,
doc.
who can do things with these docs during the meeting, and I want granular control of that. Maybe I only want 3 people out of 300 to edit the doc, or and also I wonder what happens in breakout rooms. Like if I put people in breakout rooms and say, make a Zoom doc for your breakout room, is that even something that's possible at this point?
Well, we should try that in a moment. Let's get Ray and Lois in, and then we'll give that a shot. That's it. But what you're pointing out, Frank, is that a lot of the granularity doesn't seem to be there yet. Ray, do you want to jump in real quick?
Well, yeah, you pointed out, I was listening earlier, that you were going to look at the release notes for Windows. I'm looking at Windows, and the 6.1.6 has resolved issues, minor bug fixes. This is essentially version 0.0.1 of docs, and I think Frank is right. This is like, let's kick the puppy out the door and see who'll play with it, and get some feedback and make some quick changes. I'm guessing that the cadence of one release a month for most relatively mature products probably will not apply to Zoom Docs. I'm guessing they'll put a new one out every week here for the first month, maybe as they figure out things, and then maybe every 2 weeks till it becomes mature.
It really was interesting the way this went out with no fanfare, nothing in the release notes. There was
a big email.
Okay. How many people subscribe to the big emails from Zoom? Right?
It was on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, but the fact that it was a 0.6 upgrade, and it was just really interesting. Lois, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I find this very exciting. I think having this is going to it's going to make taking minutes in a meeting, like we're having a committee meeting or whatever, it's going to take making minutes much easier. I'm going to be able to take the agenda and import it here, and we won't have to all have a screen open with the Google Docs to work on it, and we'll all be able to work on it together. And if somebody's got a report, they can import that file and we can all see it, and we can deal with it all within the meeting, within Zoom. That's great. And then I noticed that when you were talking about going to the client and looking at the doc, the permission to edit continues when I'm looking at that thing outside of the meeting. I'm in the client, and I can still open that document that we had shared earlier in here, and I can still work on it. So I think this is going to be very good. I'm excited.
Lois, other than being able, well, I guess I'm wondering why you feel like Docs is will help do what you just described better than Notes would.
Because nobody I know knows how to use Notes.
Well, it's essentially
when you click on Docs, there it is in front of you. Really? If I go and I make a note, does it appear on everybody's screen and you can all edit it? I'd never seen that.
Certainly can, sure.
Okay, so I obviously missed something, but I really like the and it says Docs. So
right. So
okay.
I open a note.
I'm gonna click on a note, and so there's this little tiny thing over on the side going, "Hello, how are you?" I want to document. I want to be able to upload the agenda. I want to document.
I hear what you're saying.
It's not.
I hear what you're saying. And I think that, John, maybe you hit it the nail on the head earlier, that Docs is just a much more mature version, even as a 0.001, really a much more mature version of Notes. At this point, I wonder what the point of Notes is if we have Docs.
Yeah.
Ray and Frank, go ahead. I'll leave this note open so everyone can chat away if they want.
What's strange to me is that the companies used to have test groups and what have you to roll something as unfinished as this appears to the world is a crazy departure from how most products are tested.
Yeah. I wonder if there was a testing group. I don't know. Ray, do you know? Do you happen to know? Or Frank, do you happen to know?
I would have to say, given Zoom's financial documents and all that sort of stuff, there has to have been some enterprise customers out there that have tried this in alpha and beta.
Mm,
And they're not this as John was recalling a conversation we had. They're not the tier 0 people that we tend to be.
right. Right. And Zoom, it's clear that Zoom did not wait till they had a polished, finished product to push this out. They wanted people to bang on it. They wanted to for us to find the gaps.
The same thing happened with Zoom events, which they first called Zoom conferences back in October of 2021, and the product was still unusable the summer of 2022. In my view, and it has come a long way, and they've taken great pains to get good feedback from people who are actually using it. The difference here is that Docs really is sort of intended, I think, has to be for the masses to use it. People at all levels in an organization, whereas Zoom events is typically just your main event people who are putting that together, and it's a lot easier to collect good information from a couple thousand people than it is from a couple million.
It's a crash, so it must have been tested.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it was. The question is by how many, by who, for how long. Frank, I'm going to come to you, but if you don't mind, I just want to put a question in Mike and who do you work with, Mike? And John? Was it the two of you? In your heads. I just want to put a question in your heads.
Okay.
What's the point, and hold on to the answer, if the point of Zoom Docs is not to be the Google Docs of Zoom, what's the point of it? That's sort of what I'm wondering. But Frank, let me let you jump in.
Yeah, I'd like to point something out. Quite often when I come to the Zoom test kitchen, you have features turned on that I don't have turned on in my account for various reasons. But they work because you as host have enabled them for this meeting. So even though I don't have them on in my own account, by virtue of you turning them on for this meeting, I get to use them. I've seen no evidence so far that I can use Google Docs. So that is going to create some kind of stress or chaos. If you come to a meeting with the concept that, oh, I have this great tool called Zoom Docs, and we're all going to collaborate, and then I don't have it turned on in my home account, and I'm not part of your organization, I can't do any of these things.
Wait. You don't have access to Zoom Docs right now?
Nope. Everything you guys are playing with, I have no way of accessing.
That's interesting.
Did you update your client?
Yeah, my client's up to date. It's probably because I don't have it turned on in my global account license settings, because that requires me to do a bunch of vetting and go to a committee meeting, and we have to vote on it and a bunch of other things. So I can't take advantage of anything that's happening in this meeting regarding Zoom Docs.
Right.
Imagine planning a meeting with various stakeholders from outside of your organization, and then they show up and you can't do any of the wonderful things you planned on doing because they don't have it turned on in their organizations. Generally speaking, when I come to a Zoom Test Kitchen meeting and David's at the cutting edge, I can, because he's turned it on for all of us for this meeting, and this doesn't seem to be the way it works right now. So
for some reason, your global settings are overriding my global settings.
Yeah, it doesn't follow the typical behavior I've come to expect when David turns on new avant-garde features. I get to play with them here first sometimes, unless I go and turn them on in my Zoom dev account. So sometimes I use things here first. I can't do any of the things you guys are doing right now.
Frank,
that's fascinating.
When John shared that screen and he shared that document, could you not see it at all?
I could see it through the screen share. That's the only way.
So on the screen share, you could see it, so you could participate. You might not be able to edit since you don't have that application, but you could see it and you could see it move and all that.
Only because David was doing virtual camera screen sharing. There was nothing else happening for me.
Wait. But when John, hold on. when John actually shared the doc, which was not a virtual camera,
I
you
could
see his
I could
share?
see it, but I couldn't interact
You
in
could
any
see it.
way.
Right. I guess that's Zoom's answer. Zoom's answer is you can have it turned off in your account. We'll let you see it, but we won't let you interact with it.
But that really doesn't follow the normal path that Zoom has, where if the host has a feature on, then the rest of us can use it during the meeting.
Right. The problem is, as you said, we're not only, and this is the struggle that I found with being having a business account, is that Zoom assumes that I have people, that I have friends in my Zoom business account that I'm going to do things with, that I'm going to meet with. There's no one. There's me. Like, I'm the only person here. And so all I do is meet with people from other orgs or from other accounts. So by way of example, to not be able to share a doc outside of my org makes zero sense. To not be able to have you interact with a doc that I'm hosting because you're not part of my org, because your org has different settings, again, doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
That's what I'm pointing out. Yes.
Yeah.
Question here. We have lots of apps down there in the little thing, and individuals can choose to get an app or not get an app. Do you think that this might be something akin to that? If you go to your client, are you saying that on the things across the top, you have home and meetings and all this stuff, and you don't have the word docs? Is that true, Frank?
That's true. And what you just said about apps isn't completely accurate either. Nobody in my organization can use apps that the admin doesn't approve for them. So if you own your own license, you can do whatever you want. You're the owner. That's the highest level of admin you can be. But if you're part of an organization and the organization doesn't let you have apps, I get app requests, hundreds of them every year. We approve almost none of them. And you have no ability under my organization to use any of these Zoom apps unless we give it our agreement first.
I just want to clarify something, Lois. Let me just quickly clarify. The icons at the bottom of the Zoom window, those are not apps. Those are Zoom functions or menus or items. Zoom
One
apps.
says apps. One says apps. One of those little things says apps.
Right, but all that does is it opens up access to Zoom apps, which do not live in the bottom. That's all I was saying. So, but yeah, because he has docs turned off, just like any other function, if you have it turned off at the system level, at the admin level, then you're not going to see it anywhere. Full stop.
The only thing I can think potentially, and I don't know, is where it said coming soon for external users? Maybe when that is available, maybe then external users can benefit through the host having it turned on in their account, but time will have to prove that one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Ray, did you want to were you asking about an app that did you have a question about an app?
Which Ray? Me, Ray?
Yeah, sorry, you, Ray Harwood. You had asked.
Not really. There was
Frank to give an example. I was just wondering what that was about.
Yeah. What sort of apps do you get that are not permitted in your organization? That when one of us enables it here, you can get to it. I'm thinking of most of the things that I can think of anyway, are things that just because we enable them here, there's no way for you to interact with them and affect your organization. Once you leave this thing, you're kind of done. And in a doc where you could then download perhaps documents that are attached to it, or copy and paste things that may have bad stuff in it. I see that as a little bit more potentially dangerous or harmful to your organization. And
yeah, I think you've conflated two things. I never said that about apps. I was talking about Zoom core functionality and the fact that normally when the host turns on a feature, everyone in the meeting gets the benefit of that feature.
So what? Give me an example.
Regardless,
I mean, I'm
notes,
not really...
notes, for example. Before we turned notes on in my organization, David had it on here, and I was able to use it here, even though my home organization didn't have it turned on. So I'm just saying, like, it seems, at least at this point, and I take great notice of what you said. This is 0.000 release, so maybe this is coming. But right now, it's great to watch you guys. But if David had planned a meeting where he expected all members to take advantage of Zoom docs, the meeting wouldn't be going well right now.
And a question just to add on to what Frank was just talking about too. I guess I have to have the latest version of the client too, or I don't have docs too.
Correct.
I'm playing around with this. I'm fascinated by this. You can download attachments thing that they were talking about. So I'm gonna grab the URL of a doc. Something that's not very exciting.
And David, we'll get back to your question that you asked John.
Oh
and
yeah,
I.
you can jump in if you want while I set this up. I was just
Okay,
curious what
sure.
you all thought since you had talked about it. Go for it.
Yeah, from my standpoint, and I think Ray Franklin actually made the comment to in chat, which was interesting, and I would just want to relay it to YouTube as well, is the fact that if we're expecting Zoom Docs to be an equivalent to Word or Google Docs, that is a bad choice of word that again that Zoom has done for us to say that it's going to be a Zoom doc, right? If I'm thinking automatically Zoom doc, I'm thinking it's a word processor, right? This is not, from what I'm seeing right now in the current version as it is, a word processing program that's built into Zoom. This is a place where I can upload, shall we call it, items and text that is meaning based, that is documentable for that meeting, but not docs, right? So is this right now got some of the functionality? I will classify it even, and I'll be nicer than I was saying word perfect. I will go up to, considering some of the stuff that you showed today, David, I'll go up to WordPad for the Windows fans out there.
WordStar.
I went further than WordStar. I gave it a little more credit than that, but good one, Frank. There you go, Dave. That was my opinion of it currently.
Yeah.
John, go for it.
John, before you jump in, let me just show. So I grabbed just a docs link from my file. So I put this image in again. This is just a test sheet, and I did / Google Drive or GOO. You can paste but then you can see that it unable to show embedded Google Drive file in Zoom client at the moment. You can view it in the web browser. When you click open in browser, it literally just brings you to the Google Doc. So that's not terribly exciting. There are 3 ways to view this: as a link view, as a card view, or as an embed view. Yeah, Tom and then Frank.
You may only be getting that unable to show depending on the privileges of the Google Doc itself, unless it's set to be public.
Okay, let's try that. Good point. Thank you. Share, very good point. Let me change it to everyone. And now let's try this again. Oh, refresh doesn't work. How do you refresh this?
David, I would take it
Change
out,
the
put it
view.
back in.
Yeah. Google. Boom. Nope. Now this
So
seems
May
to be.
need to close the dock and start again so that it reestablishes the.
You think so?
I just have it do a fresh handshake and see if the introduction works this time.
All right.
While you're doing that,
Yeah, please.
John, if I'm following correctly, like that little yellow "don't forget" and other things that David throws in this doc, presumably the metadata that lives with there would be something that the AI could pick up on and use to respond to a query. Yes.
Yeah, I think when you query AI, my query about querying AI is, where does that query reply go? Where does that answer go? And I think without Google Docs, you don't really have anywhere to plonk that text. So I see this as a little bit of middleware to connect up a lot of other things that are going on.
I follow, right, because in Ray Franklin's comment earlier on in the chat where he was saying he could use Google Sheets and Word Doc and all these other things and do a share screen and effectively get the same thing. But no, because when you ask AI to summarize the spreadsheet that Ray Franklin shared on his screen, it doesn't see it. It only hears and sees our conversation, but it doesn't actually see that screen share. Whereas potentially doing it through Docs, now it can see it and say, Ray shared a production budget for Q1 2025.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. That's a game
it's something
changer.
that the other guys should be doing as well. Yeah, this should be Microsoft should be at the forefront of doing this for its corporates as well, that you can interrogate all your documents with AI, because AI is really an intelligent search engine in my view. It's not, it makes assumptions, but it makes assumptions based on data. It's just a data gatherer. It just goes to a slightly bigger degree than the rest of us do.
Yeah, pattern recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a corporate with a lot of data, this could be interesting. But I see Docs as that middleware to dump things and to have conversations. Okay, so I'm just going to bat here for Zoom. I'm going to put my Zoom community hat on for a second. This Zoom Docs, it works. It doesn't crash. It's fine. What we're arguing about is how we use it, where we use it, and the implications of using it across organizations. And you wouldn't get that in version 1.1 or 1.2. That is an argument we've got to have. And it is interesting what Frank says about him not being able to have access to it, because I could actually, in my head, I could probably argue both ways.
Me too. I share that view.
And so I think this is a very fascinating insight into where we could go. If you've got small groups of people discussing documents, then I think it works. How it works when you scale it up, yeah, that's a fantastic question. How does it work across organizations? Fantastic question. How does it work when lots of disparate people come together to have a chat, like we are in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Another fantastic question. How deeply can this link? How can it link with the AI? Can you get it to do AI requests? Could those AI requests update themselves if you came back to the doc in the future rather than relying on the previous answer?
Potentially. I mean, I see this at the intersection of AI companion, in the true meaning of the word companion, and pointing it to the problem of unstructured data. So we have a great meeting, we chit chat, we do all these kind of things, but it's all unstructured data. And then 2 months, 3 months from now, we want to query and figure out what it was that we talked about and what the action items were. Let AI do that.
One of the most frustrating things about YouTube for me has always been that it's done text to speech, speech to text, sorry, one way around, for eons. And yet they've never given us the ability to do a textual search and it comes up with the 2-minute portion of that video that gave that answer.
Excellent point.
Which you can do in the Zoom player of cloud recordings if you've got captions turned on.
Yes, exactly. But like in Zoom Test Kitchen, if you wanted to query some functionality, they probably talked about it in the kitchen. Let me just look it up here on YouTube. Nil, won't do it.
There's a lot of things that Google is going to have a problem with. It's been well ahead of things like search, YouTube. Probably hasn't moved as fast as everybody else because it's ahead. Now Zoom's thinking, I wonder if we could be the YouTube of the future. If I get all these corporates to do all their videos and keep them on our platform, and then we start running events, and then we start using the hub as a video storage, I wouldn't have shares in Google at the moment. or an alphabet or whatever they call themselves today. Could be a big shakeup in video and processing videos.
Especially
But
at Zoom
AI
cloud
is
recording prices.
AI is still very imperfect. Yeah.
Okay, well, David is working on that. I'll continue with everybody.
I just want to say, so it's funny, you all are talking about the AI. So I'm using the AI in Docs now. I wrote a little sentence. I said, hey, can you make this longer for me? And then I said, can you translate it to Spanish? There is an option here for instant translate, but I turned it on and I set it to Spanish, but I'm not.
It did, David, look at the text. It did translate it.
But
No.
type new text. Type new text, David.
No, I know, but I did that.
No, instant is a shift key.
Right, that's what I'm trying to do. You are supposed to be able to get instant
So shift select
translation
instant.
by holding down the shift key. So I'm going to hold the shift key and then
Select the word. Oh, you're going to do the whole sentence?
Yeah, and nothing happens.
It said move a little bit in the
Right,
area, so
that's-
just like hover, I think. Shift and hover.
Hello.
Just choose the word supposed. And hold down shift key.
I'm holding it.
Oh,
well.
Ah! Ta-da!
Give it a second. They have to bring the translators
It wasn't
in.
give it a second. No, it wasn't give it a second. I'll tell you what it was. It's again interesting. So I've got two computers here, two Macs. I'm using one keyboard and one mouse, and I'm using what's the thing called?
Oh, yeah.
What's that called? Where two computers can
KVM
use?
splitter, yeah.
No.
Continuity.
Continuity. I'm using Apple's continuity, and so it doesn't work when you use the shift key here. When I actually hold the shift key down on the actual computer, so the way to get it to work is, but then my mouse goes crazy. Where the heck's my mouse? There it is. So you hold down shift and you literally just move a touch, and it translates it for you. That's kind of cool, I will say. That's kind of cool. But then your mouse, my mouse disappears. I don't know if that's continuity or if that... No matter what I do, I'm still unable to show the Google Drive in a file in here. So that must be coming later again. Something else is coming later.
This was fascinating. Thank you for doing this. Eye-opening.
Really interesting. And by the way, sorry, going back to the downloading piece or the exporting piece. So here in a doc, I now have, over something that I've imported, I now have a download button. So I've got a preview button. I've got a caption button, a download button, comment, and then all the other stuff you can replace.
Is that for the entire document or for that element?
No, for this element. Just for this. So if I download this element, so essentially, if I share this doc with other people, they could not download the doc, but they could download elements within the doc. And the same thing is true. No, the same thing is not true for this Google link. For this embed, there's an edit button. Oh no, that's edit the link. Caption, refresh, copy the original link, or open the original link. There's no download for this, which makes sense.
It's just a posh embedded link at the moment. That's what it is.
Yeah.
There was a couple people that had their hands up.
Oh, sorry, Ray. I'm going to do that now. Wait, how do I do that? I'm not in this meeting with this account.
Okay.
Let me wait. But Let me see here. Notes. So Ray was asking for me to share the doc, not just screen share it the way I'm doing it. Let me see if it's going to show up. So what is this doc called? Test sheet 1. No, it's not. So let me see if I should be able to share this with Zoom Test Kitchen, right? Yeah, because we are actually in the same thing. I'll make that a co-owner. Okay, so I shared this now with this other doc.
That was easy.
Yeah, except I don't see it. Hold on.
Are you saying share as in you gave them access, or share as you think you're putting it on the screen because you're not?
No. I gave access. Thank you for clarifying.
On the main app, you can see shared with me in your doc section.
Say again?
If you go to your main Zoom Workplace box, go to docs, you've got notifications and shared with me.
Yeah, but I should just be able to see it. I'm looking to see if it's in here, because this is where I just shared it and I don't see it here. I'm not able to open it. Thank you, Ray. Good to see you. Great to see you. All right, so let me go into as you said, into this piece here. Notifications. David Paskin added you to a doc. Okay. So now why doesn't it show up? Maybe I have to add to my docs.
Which account are you looking at Zoom with? Which one is signed in?
So what we're looking at now, right here, let me move this out of the way. This is the Zoom Test Kitchen account, and I just shared. You can see that David Paskin shared test sheet 1 with Zoom Test Kitchen account. What I'm trying to do is now get access to this doc within the meeting.
Yeah, top of the screen, above your mouse now, you've got 2 icons showing the 2 people. Can you hit the share button for it and share somebody else?
Sure. Oh, look at this. Here, I can share it with anyone. That's interesting. It said in the settings that I couldn't do that. Right, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to open docs from within the meeting, have it show up on my list here so that I can share it right in the meeting.
If you click,
Now look
There
at
you
that.
go.
Look. There it is.
Right, it had to refresh. Yeah.
No, it's not a refresh.
yeah,
It's you have to just type the name in. It's just not showing up here.
it's right there. It's the third item.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Says the untitled.
No, it's not untitled. It's called Test Sheet 1. It's right here. Now I can share this into the meeting.
Nice.
But I had to, that was weird. So it doesn't show up in a list and there's no way to navigate. But if you start typing the name of it, once
Yeah,
it's
but
shared with
remember,
you,
this
then-
is all browser based, so refreshing is probably something it doesn't do very well.
Right. I did refresh and it didn't come up, but yeah. Interesting.
Red buttons are powerful.
Red buttons.
On the list, when you had the list and it was open, if you do the red button, it goes away. And then when you look at the list again, that's equivalent to refreshing.
Wait a second. Walk me through that again.
You were looking at a list,
Yeah.
and it was in a box. At the top of the box, there's a red button. If you click that red button, the list goes away. Then if you call the list back again, that's equivalent to refreshing it.
What list? I'm not following. I'm
So
sorry.
the list of files, the red button she's referring to is the one that closes the window.
Yeah.
Close the window and open it back up. It will refresh its contents at that point, and it should be there.
Oh, okay.
Everything.
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, so I have closed the docs and now it's here because I've shared it with the team, but with all of you, but
Does anyone notice you can click on his Zoom doc now and you can now read his Google Doc?
you can?
Yeah.
you
I've got
can
really
read it,
hot
but you can't.
lunch
but you
food
can-
temperature.
Yeah. Well, I chose something not very exciting. So, but that makes sense because remember, I went in and I
Yeah, you gave us
changed
the access. That's it.
yeah. Go ahead, Lois. Sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Okay, so a while ago, while y'all were chatting, I went into my Zoom workplace. That's the client. I opened the document that John had so carefully shared with me. I followed as far as I could through it. I went to the choice that said open this in a browser, and it opened it in Zoom, and then it still had open in a browser. So I tried it again. Now it's open in Chrome. But what it is not a normal document. It looks like a WordPress page or something like that. It has the editability and movability of those little objects that you find like when you're making a website. So it was not just a document. It was a created thing. I could not find any place that I could extract the information and print it. In Chrome, there is a button that says print. I tried that. It came up blank. So, yeah, I confirm that there is no way to print this thing unless you take a screenshot.
Interesting. So I just pulled up. Thank you so much for doing.
Sharing your window, by the way. You still got that.
Yeah. Well, you can tab out of it. I'll go ahead and close it just so that the YouTube folks can see. So I've now. Let me actually redo that. Sorry. So I'm now in Workplace. I'm going to go up in that same doc. I'm going to go up and click on Open in Browser.
Mm-hmm.
It opens it in. I can't even tell what kind of thing this is. It doesn't really show me.
Upper left corner next to the apple should tell you the title of whatever you're looking at.
Yeah, no, it's docs.zoom. It's in my Arc browser. And then you're saying there's a print. Where did you see print?
In your browser, under File, don't you have?
Oh, you can just print from. I'm sorry, you can print from the browser. Sure.
Yeah, but it doesn't show up. That's the
Oh,
whole.
look at that. Yeah.
Comes
That's
up blank.
fascinating. Look at that. That's really interesting. You're absolutely right. Wow. So you try and print something, and I wonder if Zoom is blocking it somehow.
It's probably not physically there. It's probably being regurgitated through JavaScript, etc.
Maybe, or hit
Yeah.
the more settings and see if there's an option, print background settings, background images. No, paper size, margin, scale,
Background
two-sided
graphics.
option. Yeah, try that.
No.
And not a
Nothing.
zip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, they really don't want you downloading or exporting these these Zoom docs, don't they? Oh, wait a second. But there is save version. Sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lois.
Look at test sheet 1. Go and hover over that, please.
Uh-huh.
And you
Yes.
notice that it is part of something. Something appeared above it. If you go down to the next item, you'll find, if you go to the table, for example, you will find on the left, further to the left, there's a little icon that's like you would use if you were creating a website.
Sure.
So
Right. Like you can drag, these are elements rather than, and you can drag them around. Yeah.
exactly, they are elements, which is why you can put in an image because that can be an element, but you couldn't put in a Google Doc because that's not an element. You can have a link to it, but you can't have the thing itself.
Well, no, you will be able to put it in because it's just a simple embed. It's just everything is getting embedded, but apparently that's just not built in yet.
Yeah, and I don't think Google would let you do that.
Oh, sure they do. Oh yeah, you can embed a Google Doc. That's not I do that I do that on websites all the time. Yeah, but you know, going back to sort of basic functionality, I mean, there's no way it looks to me to be able to move this freely, right? It's either left, center, or right justify. I don't think you can't wrap text and things like that. None of that stuff is here.
Right. Yeah, David, I'll go one step further. What Lois is toxically what is built into WordPress and a lot of these HTML editors is actually what they call a WYSIWYG HTML editor. And it is basically a baby WordPad, if not worse, version of a text editor type Word. I don't want to use doc at all because that's a bad word now at this particular point of what this actually is. It's basically an HTML editor that John is right. If you can't print it, it's not HTML code. So it's probably hidden in there somewhere of that web page to display, and it's being generated by Zoom probably through, as John was talking about, JavaScript or some sort of programming language code.
You know, I just have to say,
Yeah, I've broken into it already.
Sorry. You've what?
I've broken into
Good
it
boy,
already.
Johnny.
It
And?
is just pure HTML and JavaScript running around in circles, and data.
Yeah.
There is no web page with the document on there.
Yeah, and it's probably using CSSs too, Johnny, yes? Cascade style sheets for everybody that doesn't know.
It's just a browser based web processor.
You know,
which brings some interesting questions, because to answer Lois's question about printing, by default, usually you can't print out of JavaScript because you can't talk to the computer that you're in when you're in a web page.
You know, I argue day and night against printing. Like, for example, calendars, right? Everybody wants a calendar they can hang on their fridge. I think that's the worst thing in the world because calendars change. And as soon as you print something, you're out of date. As soon as you print, you're out of date. And having said that, it feels, I'm frustrated that I can't get anything out of Zoom Docs at this point. Like I feel like
it's lock-in.
It feels like they're holding it hostage.
It's lock-in. There's no portability.
Yeah. Lois and Frank. Sorry, Frank. Lois has been waiting.
So I'm going to have to leave pretty soon, but consider the fact that you can do a screenshot of the various things. So you could create a PDF if you wanted to, even though normally I create a PDF by printing. And the only use I can see for doing that is if someone wasn't able to come to the meeting or didn't have a computer, and I wanted to send them the minutes. So that would be my only reason for wanting to do printing. Anyway, it was a good day. Boy, we sure got into not just the weeds, we got into the earthworms. So I'll see you next week.
We got to the roots, Lois.
Yes.
Go ahead, Frank, please.
So, we've been exploring a lot of this from a very micro sort of viewpoint. I'm going to go a little more macro for a second. There's a lot of things to consider here. When you buy a Zoom Pro license and you're an organization of one, that's, you can do whatever you want, really. It's up to you, right? But when you're a business and you have multiple people using Zoom or thousands of people using Zoom, then there's policy considerations and all kinds of other considerations. Like right now, I'm thinking about data retention policies and stuff. So, people start using Zoom Docs. Now I'm the de facto retainer of all their data. How long do I have to retain it? In a lot of areas in Zoom admin, there's data retention periods you can set for things like Zoom Notes and recordings and other stuff. I haven't seen any of that yet. I'm going to screen share for a second. I turned on some functionality. Oh, all right, sorry. So, I'm in the admin right now. So like I've got notes management. I just turned this on, docs management. I just noticed that they've renamed recording management to recording and transcript management. They've got meeting summary management. This is going to use space on your Zoom cloud storage. I imagine at some point people will be saying, we're running out of Zoom storage. Some organizations will say to users, the retention period for this is 2 years. If you want to keep something longer than 2 years, download a local copy. But oh wait, you can't download a local copy. I'm just wondering, like maybe it's just because it's 0.000A release or something, and that stuff's coming. But right now, I wouldn't recommend to my organization that we enable this broadly until these things are more fleshed out.
Yep. How were you able to turn it on just now?
It's not so much turning on. What happens is, each person in Zoom has a role. So you edit the role, and then when you edit the role, you'll find what people can see and not see. So since I'm not the owner, I'm an admin. I had to edit the admin role and go turn on all kinds of new functionality that, not functionality, but I had to allow myself to see things that I couldn't previously see because they weren't, it's new, so they weren't there before. So I went through my role, my admin role, and said, oh, I need to see docs management. A long time ago, I turned on notes management. What happens quite often in organizations is people say, I work in X department, and I'm quitting next week. I got a new job, but I'd like to transfer all of my notes to a different user so that history and all of the work we've done survives and keeps on being beneficial to my department. So bulk user management to do things like transfer 500 Zoom notes or now it'll be 500 Zoom docs. I'm glad that they've put these sort of management tools in, but I don't see any retention stuff in here at the moment. So, I'm just saying macro, like there's big things to consider if you're bigger than an organization of one.
Absolutely. I agree.
And to your point, Frank, discoverability, right? So, I mean, anytime you work with legal department and they say, okay, the retention is 1 year on emails until somebody's under investigation, then the thing is locked down for 10 years until we finish clearing that thing up.
Yeah, for sure. There's also, depending how you get your funding, like if you're a government entity, there could be freedom of information requests, and then you have other responsibilities that the average person doesn't have. And if it's typed into an online document, then it's easier for people to make I think, a freedom of information request because it's easier to access than a filing cabinet where maybe that stuff was shredded at some point.
And if it's turned on by default, like you can have a meeting and assume that it's locked down and talk about secret squirrel stuff until you didn't realize that something was turned on there in the background taking copious notes.
Yeah, there's privacy implications, especially when you have various stakeholders. Like we give licenses to people who aren't employees. They have a level of expectation regarding privacy that an employee doesn't have. So there's lots to consider here.
This is fascinating today. Well worth the price of admission. Good one, David.
A cloud storage cost. Ray, you want to walk us through this?
Yeah, I don't know, Dave, if you just want to open it up and
Yeah.
and screen share it.
Yep.
I went through a variety of cloud storage services and said, how do they price it? And what does it boil down to in terms of dollars per terabyte? And you have to really look at it. Box has this personal pro thing down at the 0.1. It's 100 gigs that ends up being $1,000 a terabyte if you kind of expand it out. But everybody else's costs are in the 100 to maybe 200 price per terabyte. But you get down to the Zoom people, there is no place where the Zoom cost per terabyte is less than $1,200. I assume that if you're a big pro account or a big enterprise account, you probably get it for cheaper, and you do get an extra 5 gigabytes per person or 10 or whatever your plan comes with. But if you're like, we're going to have 3 or 4 Zoom events licenses. We're going to have a whole bunch of video on demand and evergreen video that we want to watch through the Zoom viewer. And we're going to have all these documents. We're going to have all this other stuff. Yeah, this is a big money maker. Yeah.
Sorry, did you just put this together during our meeting, Ray?
No, this was yesterday.
Oh, yeah. It was yesterday.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frank, the cost of, or the potential cost of storage is something that is kind of an alarm bell that you've raised a number of times. When it comes to clips and meetings and you know, now all these AI transcriptions and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, we have an integration that takes all of our videos off of the Zoom cloud storage and puts it on our own system. But we don't have a similar system for docs, notes, transcripts. Those are locked in. I don't know.
John?
Who was that voice? I just heard a voice. Oh, John. Hey, John. John, don't wait. If I don't see you, just start yapping.
I love you, Ray. You're a wonderful guy. But you are comparing apples with skyscrapers.
Explain. I know.
Sure,
I know
I'll
that
explain.
there's a thing, but go ahead.
There are many ways to store data, and there are many companies, and they all have different ways of doing it. And I'll just throw you some examples. Zoom allows you to store an infinite amount of data on their servers, never charges you a penny. And if people use it, they pay you. Vimeo, you can pay a monthly fee. You can store as much as you like, but you're only allowed to upload a certain amount a month. Zoom charges you a fortune for that storage in comparison to the other guys. But there is no limit on the number of people that can use that data. If you put a video on your Zoom hub and 1 million people watched it, there's no extra charge from Zoom at the moment. They do not actually count the number of people using it. So at some time they are going to have to change their plans, because yes, they are very expensive from one point of view, but I don't think YouTube
right.
allows you to do an AI analysis.
The bandwidth's not being charged. So yeah,
Correct.
it increased. You're right. It includes all of that bandwidth. But you know, how many people can you say have a video that's stored anywhere, and especially on Zoom, that gets 1,000 views a day?
But I think the high tier people, the corporates, are going to use this more than any, and they get so much bundled in that they don't care. It makes no sense at the low level. Yeah, the tier 0, as we like to call them, makes no sense for tier 0 people to leave it on there, because there's no advantage to you unless you end up having a hub that gets lots and lots of viewers and you can get revenue out of it. But the average tier 0 user, it's not economic. But for the big corporates, there's a lot more reasons why they would probably want to stay. And they even, you know, they get a lot of terabytes thrown in. I mean, I'm not gonna ruin the sales pitch of all the salespeople in Zoom, but they get a lot of storage when they're paying $100,000 a month for the, you know, an enormous organization. And at that scale, I don't think they're going to worry about it so much.
Yeah,
and
I agree. And you know me, I'm more worried about those of us down here in the boiler room, you know, trying to maybe eke out a little bit of a living doing a few Zoom events here and there, and we generate, you know, 40 sessions. They're all an hour a piece, and you generate some recording, and you really do want to leverage, you know, some of the Zoom stuff. Well, now you got to pay $100 a month for however long you want to keep that stuff, if it's just up to 1 terabyte worth of storage.
Yeah, and there's a good argument to say that they should consider, when they're doing all their different sizes, which they've got. I've just got the page up now. I won't read it because it's just ridiculously complicated. But all the different levels you have all have different agreements of how many gigabytes you get per user and per organization. There is definitely a good argument to say Zoom, if you're still listening to us, if you're still up, if you have a Zoom events license and Zoom wants us to leave those events, the recording of those events on that hub for a longer period than just a week, then they would need to move in your direction, Ray, to say you can leave that storage up so that event can exist as a recording on the hub. Because yeah, at the moment, I take mine down almost straight away because there's no cost benefit to me. But if there was an ability to have a little bit more storage and to leave them up longer, and maybe to say, limit it to 1,000 watches or whatever, then I think they would get people using it. And the double whammy is we've been talking about how you can make all this data and then AI interrogate it. So unless Zoom can persuade us to put all this video content and leave it on their platform, we're never going to be able to do all this AI interrogating of all the data because it won't be there. We'll have moved it onto Vimeo, YouTube, and everywhere else. So there's a circular argument, and it goes in both directions. And it will be interesting to see how Zoom do it in the future.
It sounds like Ray needs to have another column on his chart.
It's an excellent point. I just want to say where I can see this moving for that circular conversation. I can see this moving in an enterprise for a learning content management system, either co-locating with Zoom or incorporating Zoom as part of your learning content management system, but do your stuff on Zoom, through Zoom, with Zoom, and that's the benefit. That's the sellable thing.
Are we going to see Zoom Classroom next, like Google Classroom? Is that what you're
Zoom,
suggesting?
Zoom already integrates with most major LMSs. That we have it integrated with our LMS. The data still lives in Zoom though, Zoom Cloud. It doesn't transfer into the LMS. But I mean, if you're a huge organization and you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month for Zoom storage, you would hire some programmers to use the APIs and SDKs that Zoom provides, and you can export the data that way, and you would get it onto a more maybe your own proprietary system or other more cost-effective systems. What we let happen with our Zoom recordings is all of the recordings go to a different system, and we let them die after 120 days on the Zoom cloud, which breaks some stuff like smart chapters and things, but it's not worth it to us.
Except in the business case where they're convenience, right?
Convenience,
so
yeah.
You hire folks that'll take with SDKs and APIs pull the stuff apart. Yes, but for the folks that just want it easy, and it's like, okay, we have this thing that our employees can log into and they can access their learning. Okay, well, here at Zoom, we have this handy little tool, this all-in-one, and then just route your links to us and we'll take care of it for you. Okay, sounds good. We'll stroke you a check.
Sure, but like where I am, for example, and I'm sure many, many, many places do this, our recordings leave the Zoom cloud and go onto our own platform, and that's also integrated with the LMS. So we've recreated what Zoom was giving us, and then we don't have to pay extra for that ability.
Do you have an AI companion that makes everything searchable?
It's pretty searchable, and it's going to be even more searchable soon. It's going to basically replicate everything Zoom's doing.
Okay, pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. David just stepped away quickly, so I'll continue with everybody. So that'll be very interesting. And again, Frank, just for everybody's sake, you were using the acronym, so just explain that a little bit.
LMS is a learning management system. Higher education, and I would say corporate places where they want to do in-house training, and elementary schools and K to 12 have these software platforms for teaching and learning where instructors put content into, you could think of them as course shells, and then people are either manually or automatically enrolled in these courses, and then that's where you find all your course content. That's called a learning management system, LMS.
There you go. So Jason, I'm assuming you guys don't use that where you guys are currently?
Not in this role, no. We're more like Ray, the hired gun. But where we get it for our enterprise clients is around data export, right? So, okay, we'll have this training event, learning event through Zoom, and then we need XYZ data to put in our HR system or what have you in order to show that people attended, learned something, whatever checkbox it is that they're looking to check off. But then in the educational side of things, where we're using Zoom.edu, and our learning content management system is Canvas. I always have to stop and pause. Not Canva, the graphic design program. Canvas, the learning content management system.
Canvas is huge. It's used by thousands of organizations
Thousands.
in North
And before
America.
we did that, we did Moodle.
We
M.
use Moodle too. The big advantage to Moodle and Canvas are both that they're open source. And then there's resellers who will manage them for you if you don't have the expertise in-house to manage them.
And again, Jason, you haven't had any issues integrating from Zoom into those platforms, correct?
For me, I my headstone will say KISS. That's keep it simple. For me, I use Zoom for video transmission. That's what it does better than any other platform out there. That's what a hammer is. A hammer is a hammer is a hammer. I don't care if it has a sharp blade on the back side of it. I'm still going to use it as a hammer. And so, yes, I play around with these things, and yes, there's some cool things that it does, but there's one thing that Zoom does really well. And so that's what I resell to my clients. And then the other stuff that they need, I'm agnostic about it. We'll figure out a way to get it. And it may be through something that Zoom does or one of the apps that plugs into Zoom, or it may not be, and that's okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Most
absolutely.
of these platforms use a technology called LTI, Learning Tools Interoperability. And so what happens is Canvas, Moodle, Brightspace, all of them, Blackboard, they all have LTI integrations, and Zoom supports the LTI integration standard. So Zoom can plug into all of these systems because it's using the LTI standard to do that.
What I
And
missed.
everybody goes silent.
Hey,
What'd you miss?
I found something this week that's really bugging me if you want to see it.
Oh, I love when things.
And
bug
it's
Frank.
not really that documented. I already opened a support ticket with Zoom, and I know there's a lot of people not happy about this. Zoom snuck in a new feature or way of doing things. I'm going to screen share, and I'll show you what it is. And maybe it won't bother you, but it bothers me. So if you go into the Zoom desktop client and you schedule a meeting using the schedule button, you'll see this new button, new badge down here. Try the new version. So normally you've gone to all this trouble of setting up your global settings for Zoom. I'm just going to hide my screen because my wife hates being on camera. I'm going to hide my camera, I should say. Just give me a second. Oh, I didn't do it right. Sorry. All right. Anyway, so let's turn that on. And now it looks sort of familiar, but a lot of the options like the meeting ID and other things are missing, and they're all in this more options section. And a lot of users are not going to know what this is. The other thing I don't like about it is when you click on it, try this new version. I believe there's a yellow, let me turn it off. I don't know if they fixed it, but yesterday there was a new sort of yellow thing, sort of a highlight. I'm not seeing it, of course. I have a screenshot on my desk, but somewhere in here, there's a thing that makes you feel like you aren't doing things correctly, and I think it's going to lead to a lot of confusion. I really am not happy that, and I've put tickets in with Zoom before, that when they create this new functionality, it should be off by default and the admin should have to enable it. But there it is sitting there for all users, and I have no way as an admin of getting rid of this badge. I have no way of an admin of suppressing this new thing, which is going to lead a lot of people astray.
Yeah, Frank, I've actually seen this functionality, and I have to admit I am getting some. I have to deal with it in our organization as well.
Well, when you have tens of
It's been a
thousands of
couple weeks
users,
that I've been it.
it's a big pain in the, you know what.
Yeah, I agree. Who put up their hand? Lois, go right ahead.
Okay, so I left the meeting, and when I went to my Zoom workplace, my client, the doc thing was open, and when there was this document there. Okay, back out of that. Okay, here's a list of documents. Oh, I don't want to participate in that one. There is no place on there where I can say, take me out of this collaboration. The owner is listed, which is David, as that test document that you made. But there's no place that I can opt out. So I just thought y'all would like to know there's another, I don't know. Can't you usually, when you're collaborating with someone on some document, like if you were in Google instead of Zoom, can't you just say, no, not for me?
That's how Zoom Notes was at first, because I remember when David was playing around with that and we were collaborating in like the whiteboard and the notes. And then after a couple of weeks or something, that functionality came where you could not participate in this anymore. I don't think it was called delete, but something like, no, I don't want this anymore. Don't show it to me. But it took a few weeks.
So you're saying I'm just looking up in notes now to see if this, there's see, these are all my own, so I can't, wait, shared with me. I don't have one that's shared with me.
I should clarify, there is 3 dots in there. And when I open that, I do get some options, and one is hide. So I can hide it from my recent list, but I can't not collaborate anymore.
You don't have a move to trash?
No. The delete button is grayed out because I don't own this.
Right. No, but yeah, you want to opt out of participating in it anymore. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
So it makes sense what Jason says. This will show up after people have messed around with it for a few weeks and get frustrated.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that in notes either. So interesting.
But it's in whiteboard, David, correct?
Is it? Let me see. Whiteboards. Shared with me my whiteboards. I mean, again, I'm looking at as the owner of ones. I've got to move to trash, but I'm the owner, so it's hard for me to tell. Someone would have to look at if someone has whiteboards that have been shared with them. I don't. No one shares anything with me.
Oh, all right. Here you go.
But you have to share it with Zoom Test Kitchen, not with.
Okay. Well, let me just make something.
Okay.
All right. And now I'm going to share. Welcome to Use Whiteboards Classic. Okay. And then it says participants can now see your whiteboard. I'll give you a little heart. Okay, there you go. Is that all you wanted?
Well, I don't see that in.
Somebody did. John just drew a square around my heart.
No, I see it in Zoom.
Uh-huh.
But I don't see it in my client.
Okay, maybe it's because it's still open. We just made it.
I wonder.
No, if you
maybe.
go to your whiteboards and do shared with me, I can see it shared with me.
Well, y'all are working on it, so you must be shared.
I do not have it.
In your Zoom client, if you're in the Zoom
there it is.
If you go to whiteboard in the Zoom meeting.
It's in my whiteboards. Why would, no, it's not. No, it's not. Sorry.
So I
This
haven't
is-
said anything about who gets it. I'm just sharing with everybody in the meeting. So if you're in the meeting, then that should appear.
Yeah, it does, David. It's in the, if you go into your client and you go to whiteboards, it's there as a choice.
Oh, not in the, boy, it's really, I gotta say, it's a little, I hear what you're saying. Share existing whiteboards. No, wait a second. How did you get there?
So if you
You
go
go
into
to
the
the Zoom
Zoom
client.
Workplace client,
Yeah,
and then you click on whiteboards,
yeah,
you'll see it. It's now on the list.
yeah, I don't, August 9th.
Yep, that's today.
No, that's a note.
Are you in
Yeah.
whiteboards tab?
I'm whiteboards. All right, now I see it. This is so weird. What the heck? No, see, I'm looking.
You're looking at the one that I just did.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yep.
I was having trouble. I see Jason's, but I don't see yours. Maybe you
Well,
have to close it. Can you
I don't know
close
how
it?
to close it. How do I close it?
Click the three dots in the top.
I don't have three dots in the top. I've got a
Oh,
whiteboard.
there's an X at the bottom, on the bottom left. At least for me, there is.
Now on the bottom right, I have a plus sign. In the
No,
top,
where your toolbar is, there should be an
close
X at the
window.
end of it.
Okay, I will try closing window.
Okay.
All
So
right, now it
now,
went away. Right? Did it go away for you guys?
yeah.
All right. I never named it though.
Yeah, I'm still not seeing it.
I didn't see Lois's either. I saw that one, David.
Now, Jason,
ZTK
what's
personal
interesting is
meeting
that,
room.
right, but what's interesting is that yours
Yeah.
is not showing up under shared. It's
It
showing
showed up under shared with me, so I thought you had created it, or
No, I
that it was
didn't.
created in this meeting.
That's mine.
Oh,
Oh, there it is. I thought David on the second upper right, maybe. Your screen changed.
So this right here is what you shared with me, I thought.
And
Oh,
I
it's
found
just
it under
oh.
shared with me.
This was a previous
That's
one that you had
mine.
opened.
I did that.
No, but where's the other stuff that you were just drawing?
I don't know.
See,
There was
that's
a bunch
not-
of
that's
you
not
did
it.
this, but then you did a second one, I think.
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
You did two because you had different drawings on the second one.
Oh, there, I see Lois's mouse floating around on this one now.
I do want to say it's interesting to me that
Yeah, I see it, Lois. Draw something.
I'm just trying to find page 2, and there isn't one.
No.
Hello, Jason.
right, but see, this is Lois. This
go.
is no, but again, this is a whiteboard that I started at some point, and you all are just edit.
I started this little swoopy thing. That's mine. I did that.
Yeah, it said August 9th, today's date, 5:09 Eastern Time, which is just a
Then
minute
why
ago.
is it showing up in my whiteboards?
Because
and
this
it's
is your
not-
meeting.
but it's not under shared with me.
Because
I created
share
it
it with you.
I created it in your meeting.
Yes.
So someone else's whiteboard that they create in my meeting becomes my whiteboard?
It's your meeting.
So Lois, when you look under
Click
whiteboards,
on the share button. You'll see Zoom Test Kitchen is the owner.
right? But I'm wondering where this shows up in Lois's client.
It shows up in my,
Shared with me.
hold on. I've lost my client.
I just renamed it Lois's whiteboard, so it'll be a little easier for us to.
Well, no, that's, I'm in a meeting, but I don't see my client at all.
Well,
I think I closed.
I'm looking at it through the web browser, and it's a little bit easier. Here, I'll put it up on the screen. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so in the web app, it's a little bit easier to find it. Whiteboards, shared with me, and now it says Lois's whiteboard because, as David said, he just renamed it.
I renamed it.
But owner is CTK.
I understand why I'm the owner because it's my meeting, but that it feels a little weird to me. Lois, I don't know.
I'm going to pop out and come back so I can get my client. I can't find my client, so I'll be right back.
Am I wrong or?
No, as the meeting owner, you own everything in the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do it stage by stage. I just started a whiteboard. At the moment, I'm the only person that can see it. I'm the only person that owns it. But I don't see how I share it into the.
Did you start it from within the meeting window?
The link.
No, but no. Do you start it from within the meeting window, or did you start it from the app?
No, I started from the app, and that's what I wanted to, because that's what I wanted to see if Lois had shared hers in, and I think I'm not sure how she did it.
I just want to say that to me is confusing. The fact that starting things in, I don't even know what to call these two different things. The meeting versus the app, I guess.
Yeah, there's definitely now some clear blue water between the two and the way you use them. Because if I launch the whiteboard in the meeting app, I'm guessing that everybody sees it straight away.
Yep.
So the rule seems to be, if you launch it in the meeting app, it's shared straight away. If you launch it in your Zoom workplace, that's separate to the meeting, and you can deal with that separately.
And the thing that you just started, I got a pop-up, which I haven't yet touched on. It says, invitation to take notes. David Paskin wants you to collaborate on a note. So
I do?
it said, yeah, that's because John started that thing.
No, but John's working on John's doing a whiteboard, not a note.
Right. Lois, I think it was because you joined now, and we've already, David enabled earlier a note.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my answer to that.
I know.
Right. Okay. So the note is okay. Never mind.
And I now see, John, the whiteboard that you started again under my whiteboards, not shared with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just interesting to me. That's an interesting choice I get it. Again, it's interesting.
I'm in the meeting, but it's not showing up in my list.
He has, you stopped sharing it, didn't you?
Yeah,
well,
I closed
but
it down.
It still should be there if he shared it at all.
Not necessarily.
You might have to back out and then come back in.
No, but not, there's a setting in there that says, do you want people to have access to this after, right?
I'm in the meeting though.
Right, let me see.
Jason, can you see it?
Yes, but I have to manually refresh the page. I have to manually pull down a fresh page.
How do you manually refresh the page?
So let me demonstrate with the web app. I find it a little bit easier, and then David can share how he's doing it through the desktop app. So in the web app, like now it'll say 3 meetings. Okay, so I'll just pick a different thing here on the left to go to a different page. Then I'll come back, I'll click back on whiteboards. It'll pull down a fresh page. You saw the little spinny circle wheel there. And if there was a new one, then that would be a fourth one would pop in here. So I see someone's creating a new one in one of their screens. I will not see it in this list until I manually pull down that fresh page.
So I went to a different tab in my Zoom Workplace client, and then I went back to the Whiteboards tab, and it did not refresh. So David, how do you refresh your client?
I have no idea.
Anybody?
I've been, like he's been doing, I've been popping into a new page and popping back. And it seems to like things seem to change. Like if I go to home
Let me try something else
and then
then.
I go back to whiteboards.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. So the tabs at the top do not do it, but if you go to the list at the left of your on the whiteboard
The
tab,
navigation on the
then
left.
then you can do it. So I
Really?
switched to my whiteboards, and then I switched back to shared with me.
Or
and
our whiteboards.
there you are.
Yeah.
And it'll pull
Well, I
down.
only have those two in that.
No, but that's a great find that the navigation at the top doesn't refresh, but the navigation on the side does. Yeah, that's a good find. Yeah.
And that is very web browser-ish,
Is it?
right?
But
Yeah,
this is a Zoom client.
Right, but no, the functionality is similar in name your favorite web browser. And Ray put in the function 5 key, which is a Windows shortcut, which works in a web browser. I haven't tried it in the desktop client. And further minutia here, on a Dell computer and some HPs, you can't just hit F5. You first have to hit the function key, or you purposely have to go through and tell it, no, I want it to use the bottom functionality of the F keys first and not the top functionality of it.
Yeah, I can confirm. I just tried it now, and on Windows, F5 did within the Zoom Workplace, I guess is what we should actually be calling this now. In the Zoom Workplace app or Zoom Workplace client, F5 did work to refresh in whiteboards without going back and forth from like recent to my whiteboard to shared with me.
So I will go to the Zoom keyboard section and see if I can find an equivalent in the Zoom thing to refresh that. Because I'm on a Mac and F5 doesn't do that. F5 does something totally different. I guess I'm not going to get out of here. I tried 3 times. I still am here.
Folks, I have to do my get ready for my Friday ritual, so I've officially passed host over to Mike, and really grateful that we got to play around with docs today. So I don't want to interrupt the meeting, but I know Frank has his hand up.
All righty, Dave. Thanks. Take it, Frank.
Is he frozen?
I see his
don't
mouth
know.
moving, but
Oh,
I don't
Frank, go
hear
ahead.
anything.
Frank, he tossed to you.
Check your mute switch. Dig it out of your back
He
pocket.
sat on his mute switch.
I did see that. I did sit on my mute switch.
Oh, that's
I-
fantastic.
I was saying, go into the Zoom Test Kitchen Discord, go into announcements, and read about Zoom Automator workflows for next time.
We love our Discord channel. Everybody in YouTube, join us on our Discord channel.
And how do you get
Lois,
there?
what we got? To our Discord channel, you could actually go to our zoomtestkitchen.com website. Let me just get that into, and I will put that up as Lois is looking for the global shortcut within Zoom. Just make sure that
And there is
Yes.
none that I could find. I couldn't find a refresh from Zoom.
so there was no F5 equivalent. There we go.
I
Yeah.
could make an F5 equivalent if I knew what the Zoom thing was, but that's it.
Lois, let me ask you this. In a regular, so in Safari, how do you refresh the web page?
Safari, Chrome, any of the browsers, that it would be Command R for refresh, or push the little button up there that's got the little symbol for refresh.
Then I would try that. Zoom should be very universal in that regards.
Okay, close that, go to here. And you've made changes, have you? So if I refresh, I'll see something new?
I'm
Ding,
rolling.
it says that doesn't work.
No.
Nope.
All right. Anybody else on a Mac? John, are you on your Mac right now?
F5 doesn't
yeah.
work either.
I was distracted by a Zoom scheduler. Find the perfect time, the easiest part of the meeting. Try a free for 30 days. And when I get onto the account, I find it's not applicable to me. I have the same problem when people come up to me in pubs.
It's all right, John. We all love you. It's okay. It's all good. They just don't understand. They just don't understand properly.
I just don't understand either. What?
There is a marketing move by Zoom to make offers of this free for 30 days, this half price for 2
Oh.
months, etc. And
Yeah.
I have
Yes.
not found a single offer that applies to me.
You mean you actually click on them? I just,
Yeah, to make them go away.
but there's a little X. That works. Okay, Roland just seems to be sharing something.
Roland's got a whiteboard up. Roland, tell us more. Are you available, Roland? Just tell us what you. I can see this. I can edit. All right. Follow Roland. Yes, we're following you, Roland. And so is everybody on YouTube, for that matter. Oh.
I
And
like
that might-
hearts.
And that's Lois being very artistic once again for us. But Lois, correct me if I'm wrong. When you did yours, was that not a blue heart that you did? Not a black one? Using blue ink?
Whatever it was that was there is what I used. I didn't change anything. I could certainly change something right now.
Right. And as you know, and as we were talking about when it comes to WYSIWYG, this again, the whiteboard as well as everybody can see on YouTube is very WYSIWYG-ish based as well, where you're limited to what Zoom again offers you as the WYSIWYG capabilities.
Oh, every one of these notes, I get an email. Note shared with you, whiteboard shared with you, whiteboard shared with you, another whiteboard shared with you.
Where are you getting those messages?
In my email notifications.
Email.
So, yeah.
Oh, you must have some heavy stuff turned on.
John, I think you may mention in our Zoom chat that you were also getting the emails every time this was happening too, correct?
Yep. I've got a note shared with you. Zoom Test Kitchen's personal meeting is one of the emails I've had. Yeah.
I do too. It's normal.
I guess I'm not normal, huh? I always turn that stuff off.
Just a setting, I think.
Yeah. There's
We
only
don't
one.
need any notifications. Just do whatever you do on the account. That's fine, whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's, I'm just one person. I've got a good business, but no business account.
Well, then you should turn on notifications, because if you're getting notification that there's activity on your account and you're having dinner, you might want to look into that.
Well, but I mean, if I do everything and it sends me a notification every time I do something, that's kind of counterproductive.
Point taken. Point taken. That makes sense.
How
So
do
is
you
everybody
delete
having-
one of these things on this whiteboard? Where's the delete? Erasure.
Erasure. I see clear page at the bottom for myself, but again, I'm host, so I have to be careful here. Where do I see delete?
Select it and press the delete button.
There you go. Says Ray from,
But make sure you select it, otherwise you will clear the entire page.
yeah.
All right, folks,
All right,
it's
select
Friday.
the-
I'm going to have a good weekend. I wish you all the same. Thank you. Excellent kitchen today. Definitely thought-provoking, intriguing. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason. Take care. Have a great weekend. And don't forget, 3 p.m. Eastern, everybody. Zoom Test Kitchen on YouTube. Check us out.
And the only person who can get rid of this whiteboard is Roland or the host.
Yeah. Roland, are we done playing with the whiteboard? Going once?
Hey, somebody got rid of my carrot top.
Going twice. And oh, we got people still. Oh.
I just had to
Lois.
put the carrot top back. Okay, I'm done.
All right. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to officially do the red X per, as Lois was telling everybody, I'm closing the whiteboard. There we go. All right. Anything else that happened this week, guys and gals? We're talking about. I know that there was a bunch of different things that happened in the Zoom sessions world, Zoom events world, here or there. Some stuff that John and Ray and I cannot talk about yet, but there's some stuff
that's the
coming.
problem when you ask this question. You sit there and think, well, I know 7 things that are happening, but which of the 7 am I allowed to mention yet?
I know. Yeah, I know. Just that's a teaser for everybody on YouTube that things are coming in events and sessions.
Scheduling.
More specific. Who's scheduling?
You can
What are we
schedule,
scheduling?
if you're a corporate, you can schedule a session and then give it 3 time zones when that event will happen. So if you've got a multinational organization and you've got an event happening and you don't want people to watch it in the middle of the night, you can schedule it and then you can assign 3 different time zones to that session.
And that, John, that was an example of you actually doing it through SimuLive as well, correct? Or not?
Well,
or was that a SimuLive example you gave, or was that just again?
No,
you could
just
do it
a regular meeting. But you probably get the you probably have the CEO's bit recorded, wouldn't you, and play it as a recording in each meeting.
Yeah. So what? Let me clarify a little bit, John. What John's referring to is the sessions recurring session, and you can schedule that for up to 60 days. And you used to be able to do 2 sessions per day. You can now do 3 sessions per day. And you can either have them all 3 live and in different languages or whatever. But as you were pointing out, and when we had the discussion, the thought was you would probably do the first one, have everybody live, but then the other 2, you would just have SimuLive.
Right.
But if
As an example.
they're meetings, you could have the group A, and then when group B comes in, be a whole bunch of different people, and they could have a meeting talking about the same thing, but they could talk to each other and do their thing. And then group C could come later and do their thing. And then somebody at the corporate level could run an AI for all 3 sessions and gather up all the ideas that came out and produce a document or a white paper or whatever. Cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of positive feedback when we heard about the 3rd session being allowed from just being 2. Especially a lot of the case studies that were brought up to the group were based on time zone, if not geographical time zone, meaning different, one in North America, one in Europe, one in Asia, as an example.
So since we don't have anything new right now to announce, I want to remind everyone, think back 4 years ago, 2020, 4.5 years ago, when all of a sudden Zoom became really popular and saved a whole lot of folks who were doing a whole lot of stuff and they could no longer get out of the house. So just to remind us that a whole lot has changed in the last 5 years.
Absolutely. And Zoom has definitely done a lot of changes themselves in 5 years as well. Adding new products, making mistakes, fixing the mistakes, improving stuff, breaking things, fixing it again, and improving more again, and breaking things again. And the cycle continues.
And for the people who discovered Zoom at that time, and it saved their exercise class or their church meetings or whatever, whatever happened to Zoom in the meantime really isn't going to affect you call them the zero people. I find that a little obnoxious, but the people who are not big businesses.
And Lois, just for some context, I was talking to a person in Zoom management who is responsible for the Zoom community and some of those things. And he was the one that said that a lot of his compadres refer to him as being responsible for the tier 0. So yeah, that's because I'll share this other story that I shared with John a little bit. We had someone in Zoom at a high level in the Zoom events in a meeting somewhere, and I won't mention where, but he was extolling the benefits of being able to use Zoom events for these great big huge meetings of large companies and that sort of thing. And when I pointed out to him that but many of us really work in this space where people just have a few, maybe a couple of hundred people and that sort of thing. And we use the pay per attendee license instead of the Zoom unlimited license. His comment was, oh yeah, I only work with the enterprise people. Which, yeah, irked me just a little bit, but.
And we can understand why. Because again, a lot of our audience, especially a lot of our audience on YouTube, are at the infamous, as we are now going to very nicely call ourselves, tier 0.
Yeah, the boiler room people. Yeah, you watch a lot of movies where there's people in the ivory tower and people down below. Yeah, if you read the 10K, which is I've referred to several times as their financial statement on an annual basis, those large companies account for slightly less than 30% of the revenue overall for Zoom. And as this gentleman that I was talking to who provides, that takes care of the Zoom community and so forth, he said, we're 70% of the company's revenue. There's many more of us than there are of them, even at that.
And don't forget
expanse.
that there is a middle class. I mean, it isn't all people
Sure.
who are free or pro and people who are at the highest level. There's a whole lot of school.
There's a lot of people also at the
middle.
yeah at the business level, which is more than 10 accounts, but probably typically less than 50 and that sort of thing. But again, those people typically don't have someone that they can just call up and go, hey, this is broken. Can you fix it for me? Where, if you're spending $100,000 a month or more, you have a technical account manager that you can call and go, this is broke, take care of it. And they go ring the bells over at Zoom and they take care of them.
Yeah, exactly. Again, there unfortunately there's always been in these type of industries as well. There's always been the highest of highs will get the best
Yeah.
technical support, and the lowest of lows, we're lucky to get forums, and or communities, or even sometimes Reddit posts, depending on how bad it gets with certain brands. But again, Lois is right too. There is a good middle section that is there, but again, Ray, you don't happen to have numbers just specifically in the middle, do you?
No, I don't. No, I don't. That's not really that I've seen in the 10K. But I get the same treatment from Adobe. I have to go to a forum. I can't just call up Adobe. I certainly can't call up Microsoft and say, hey, my Windows PC is acting funny. What the heck can you do for me? And for $14.95 a month or whatever you're paying for most of these things, I mean, I don't expect to get white glove treatment. But the point that I make whenever I talk to somebody at that sort of management level in Zoom is, Zoom still needs to do what they can to, make the information available to those people at our level. I kind of regularly point out things in the Zoom community. When version 6 came out, it severely broke a lot of functionality in the Linux environment. And there's a couple of threads that are just way, huge number of posts about that. So, yeah.
So I want to observe a few things. One is that I think Zoom does a really good job of providing tutorials, of not so much telling people about the brand new cutting edge stuff, but getting people up to speed on using it for their club or whatever. And second is that most of those middle ground people who got started with this to deal with, the internals of their club or their church or whatever, they're using it for the purpose that they started out needing it for. And most of them have absolutely zero interest in watching Zoom Test Kitchen or finding out what the new fancy things is or what events are doing. Or it's like, nah, we got what we need. We're going to keep going. Don't talk to us. And so I think Zoom is doing a really good job. I know there's a lot of complaining, and we're in there to push the limits, but still, Zoom is fantastic, really.
And the other thing
Yeah.
that I tell people, is that everybody that I talk to in terms of people at Zoom, all of them are very helpful. All of them are very competent. All of them, really want to do those sorts of things. There are some things that Zoom sort of as a corporation, to me, the company approach to something is not what I really like. For example, you can't really go to one document other than the pricing page, which lists each of the various types of accounts and what they can and can't do. But there's not really a pricing page or separate page that says for a Zoom basic user, here are the limitations if you don't pay for an account. You can't do cloud recording. You have to have a passcode. You can't do without the passcode. There's no real definitive list of that. 40 minutes. Everybody knows that there's a 40-minute limit. But most people, when they first get into it, don't realize that there's a 10-minute waiting period before you can start a new one. That to me is I'd like to see, oh, you signed up for a basic account. We're just going to tell you transparency up front. Here's what you can and can't do. I don't think that level of information is proactively offered. I agree with you, Lois, that Zoom has some great tutorials and some great information out there if you can search for it. And unfortunately, a lot of the people who end up on the Zoom community haven't searched to find the answers.
And Ray, correct me if I'm wrong, some of them have tried, but again, also haven't found what they're looking for.
Correct. And as those of us who poke around in Zoom documents all the time, we can't really remember, is this setting, set to true mostly or false mostly or whatever, but we kind of know the terminology and we can search for the right stuff. But even sometimes I'm like, I'm searching for something and I'm just not using the right term and it doesn't come out easily. You can't pull it out real easily, but all of the answers are there. You really do kind of need a navigator or a translator or something.
A teacher like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been talking about little things and a medium-sized company and a genealogy club and all that sort of stuff. But you can, in the instant, in a week, you can get a Zoom meeting going, the Kamala Harris meeting for white women, 160,000 people on one Zoom meeting. I mean, that's almost unbelievable.
And she didn't just do it once. She did it multiple times.
Well, for different groups, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've read several articles on that, and the question I'd have is, what did she actually use? You can't have a Zoom meeting with more than 1,000 people. A meeting, a webinar. Now you've got to pay this huge price in order to get that. Zoom events. Maybe Zoom cut a deal, or I don't know. It's got to be expensive to do something like that. But just from a technical perspective, I wish someone could go, what we actually did was the one thing that I read in some Zoom events technical document, for example, was that you can have a Zoom event with 100,000 people, but what you have to have is 2 Zoom events, 50,000 licenses, and then you have to write to Zoom in advance to get them to join those 2 licenses together, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. How did she get 160,000 people? I'd like to know the answer to that at some point. If anybody finds some details, let me know.
And
Just
Yeah.
it was a Zoom call. It wasn't a webinar.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, they were
that's
Anyway.
article speak. I think that's journalist speak that they don't know exactly how it was done either. My guess, because I call a Zoom meeting a Zoom call when I'm just kind of chatting with somebody. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I wasn't on that meeting, so I can't tell you whether or not people could see each other. I think they could. I believe that they could see each other, which is a meeting thing, not a webinar thing. So anyway, but we don't need to worry about it. It's just amazing that it could happen. Anyway, I think it's time for the kitchen to close so we can get prepared for dinner.
Oh, there's a nice wrap up for everybody on YouTube. So I'll take Lois's thing and say, absolutely, let's do that. And for everybody watching on YouTube, thank you for coming. Again, we're here every week on Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you again next week, where you never know what Zoom is going to be up to and whatever we're going to be testing in the kitchen. Take care, YouTube fans.